New York, LA, Berlin, say hey to Tokyo, Rio, De Janeiro. Here we go. Hello, can you just feel it? Are you ready to go? Hello, do you receive my echo? My life is a party, my home is the club. I party like a rock star, dance until I drop. My life is a party, my home is the club. My stage is the dance floor, party never stops. Paris, Bel Air, say yeah to Monaco, Zento, Domingo. Here we go. Hello, can you just feel it? Are you ready to go? Hello, do you receive my echo? My life is a party, my home is the club. My stage is the dance floor, party never stops.
Cozier than a sweater. Ooh, you're lighter than a feather. Just think about the things you've done. You mix the sour with the sweet, and that's a perfect remedy. The love of God has got me clean, no old spice. That desert I was in was deep, so dry. But now I'm out here feeling free, so fly. I'm chilling in the shade. Life gave me some lemons, but my Jesus, he be making lemonade. My Jesus making lemonade. I'll watch my worries wash away. It's gonna be okay. Life give me some lemons, but my Jesus, he be making lemonade. Sweet like sugar cane on a summer day. And my Jesus better than the words I could ever say. Promise that the great, the good, the bad will come along. Cause if life is always easy, probably doing something wrong. Okay. He comforts in the sorrow. He's living in a loss. He stole the shame I carried. He worried on the cross, providing me a
miles is it gonna take to get away from you? You're breaking on the cowboy's heart. You got me drinking at a downtown bar. I'm overthinking, getting too damn drunk, and that's what I get for falling too in love. Remember that back road, baby. Remember them stars in the sky. Remember that tailgate we were sitting on when you looked me in the eye. I remember those backwoods, baby. We would roll them up and get high. Said let's stay here and plant roots till you and I die. Guess I'm just learning how to let it go. Guess I'm just learning how to live alone. It's hard for me to take it slow. So baby, let's see how fast this all black Silverado goes. How many miles is it gonna take to get away from you? You're breaking on the cowboy's heart. You got me drinking at a downtown bar. I'm overthinking, getting too damn drunk, and that's what I get for falling too in love.
Hello! How are you? How's everybody? My name's Grant Smith Ellis. It's 6:21 p.m. It's Sunday, June 14th, 2026. In Boston, Massachusetts, that is, U.S. peacetime. It is 12:21 a.m., Monday, June 15th. In South Africa, it's 1:21 a.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and it's 1:51 a.m. in Tehran, Iran. Now, you might be saying to yourself, hello, Aaron, it's so good to see you. Hello, hamburgers. Hello, Burley, and Interpret Towel, and Clumsy Clairvoyance, and First 48, and Tiffany Bob, and Nightbot. How you doing? Now, folks, hello, Sammy. Good to see you. God bless you and all the people of Denmark. I do have that good of a memory. Now, we got to talk about what just happened. That was all crazy Sunday. Now, you may be a little confused, and you'd be right to be confused. It is the president's birthday. He is about to have an event on the White House lawn that looks a little bit like gladiatorial combat in like an hour and 40 minutes. The oil futures did just open 22 minutes ago, and the Japanese Nikkei 225 opens in 1 hour and 38 minutes. Israel also bombed Beirut. Then Mr. President got mad. Then Israel kept bombing southern Lebanon, but didn't bomb Beirut again. And then Iran was going to bomb Israel, and then Iran didn't bomb Israel yet. And then America and Iran announced a peace deal, of course, through who else but Pakistan. Not just that, the peace deal is being signed in Switzerland, of course, next Friday, June 19th, of all days, 2026. So we got the World Cup game. By the way, the Scottish World Cup fans are the greatest humans in the world. You should see them. They've made Boston their new home city. The entire country of Scotland is here. I didn't know we could fit the whole country of Scotland in Massachusetts. We can. Who knew? Anyway, my point is, so next Friday, we got the Scottish people having their World Cup game at Gillette in Foxborough, Boston Stadium. That's going to be ridiculous. It's like they party for like 3, you don't understand. They party for 72 hours before the game. They don't pregame. They start drinking 3 days before the game. And they just drink and run through the city. They go to events together. They sing songs. They're very intense. It's great. They picked a perfect city to put the Scottish in. It's great. You should see them. They're having the time of their lives. Anyway, so we're going to have a peace celebration in Geneva. All right, we're all going to be celebrating. We can don our, American hats, it's going to be, what's it going to be called? Peace in the Middle East Day. All right, next Friday. So instead of VE Day or VJ Day, it's going to be, please forgive that frame drop. It's going to get a little stormy tonight where I am, so there's going to be some frame drops, but it's fine. I actually have really powerful internet. It's just the storm's coming in. Anyway, my point is, so next Friday, June 19th, we have the Scottish playing, I think it's Morocco at Gillette around here. And we have a peace deal in Switzerland being signed. All right, it's just going to be one big party. We're all going to wave, Iranian American peace flags. Instead of Victory in Europe Day or Victory in Japan Day, it's going to be called Peace in the Middle East Day. So PITME Day, Pitney Day. We're going to have to work on that acronym. The point is, it's happening next Friday. I thought it was July. It's actually happening next Friday. They're signing a peace deal. And this apparently covers every front. So if there's the reason I'm live right now is I'm going to go live till about 8. If there's any bombing in South Lebanon, if there's any bombing in Israel, if there's any bombing anywhere, you're going to hear about it. You're going to monitor it. But I believe this, and again, this is Mr. President's birthday. He does have a gladiatorial combat type thing going on. It's a little strange. I don't know if there's any lions involved. Hashtag save the lions. And that will be happening at 8 p.m. So if we can get to 8 p.m. and no bombs drop anywhere, this is real. Now that I've given you the hard news, I'll take you through the day. And then I'll tell you my analysis. And if we get to 8 p.m. at Eastern, okay, 1 hour and 34 minutes from now, and no bombs drop anywhere, this is real. Including Lebanon, though. No bombing in South Lebanon. If all of a sudden there's all these wild bells and whistles and alerts, then this is not real. Oh, it's Tiffany Bob's anniversary on the 19th. Tiffany Bob will include that in the celebrations. We're going to have a big celebration stream. 10K Towel subscribers on YouTube, 20K on X. Met that goal last night. And Tiffany Bob's 1-year anniversary and Peace in the Middle East Day. And then also the Scottish. We're going to celebrate Scotland. Hashtag celebrate Scotland. Hello, Mishigama. Yes, Real Jack Matt is finally going to get a yes to his question, is the war over? I believe it's over. Now, we're not going back into conflict. If it ends, it ends. The previous ceasefire was a little bit of a faux ceasefire, okay? This is, we're talking about a real end to the war. Now, we got to make it through 8 p.m., I'm telling you. I know you all are on the edge of your seats because you have no idea how this happened so quickly. I'm going to explain. I'll tell you what happened. We just were with each other a few days ago. It's not like there was a lot of time for things to develop. It was really Bibi, I think, that pushed President Trump into this peace deal. Then I'm going to tell you about the implications of this. All right? Because this whole war was pointless, as I've said from the beginning. But now I can actually confirm it in hindsight and start thinking about all of this. All right? This whole war was pointless by the U.S. and Israel. Iran is more powerful. Do you all understand that in January of 2026, Iran, I'd say 70% of the domestic Iranian polity was opposed to the IRGC and the Supreme Leader. The man was in his 80s. He had terminal cancer. And he was very outdated. He was smart. They were all smart. All of them. The Iranian leadership is and was smart. But he was old, and they didn't really like him. And he couldn't really respond to their discontent because he was old and dying. Alright, do you know what we've done with this war? We've given Iran a second lease on life. I've heard it said that President Trump is the greatest thing to happen to Iran since 1501. Their leadership has consolidated control and national unity in ways you don't understand. We don't understand. They're a force to be reckoned with. There was no regime change. None. Zero. They're more hardline than they were before. And they have their missile program, which is way worse than we thought. Way more terrifying as a deterrent. And then the new axis of power in the region. George says, I appreciate you, buddy. I've been absent more than present lately, but Tao President and his constituents are always present in my heart. George, God bless you. Come around whenever you want. You relax whenever you want. God bless you, my friend. And you make sure you always stay in touch. You stay in touch. Your insights are valued. You are loved. And you are a towel. God bless you, George. It's so good to see you today. And thank you for all of your kind words. And I do hope we get to see each other for the Cubbies versus the Red Sox. Hello, Share Bear. Alright, so let me continue my analysis. Every tactical goal of this war was not accomplished by Israel and the U.S. None of them were accomplished. Iran has gained power and deterrence and leverage in the region and on the world stage. And it's viewed very positively internally. Not completely, but very positively. And very positively internationally. Do you know how isolated Iran was during the Iran-Iraq war in the late 80s and early 90s? Only like 7 countries in the world supported them. You can list them, like Sudan, North Korea, Japan. I don't know how Japan got on that list. Did you wonder why Japan was allowed to send ships through the Strait of Hormuz during the war? Iran has a long memory, and they reward their allies. God bless you, George. You're always in my prayers and my thoughts, my dear friend. You're wonderful. All right, so let's talk about the day. Let me show you how we got to peace. I don't think we were really we were either heading towards peace today and then it almost broke down. We weren't heading towards peace today. We got accelerated towards peace because of Benjamin Netanyahu. It was a hell of a day. Truly. It was a while. But I have it all for you. I'll take you through it. I documented it all. That's the benefit. I kind of monitor during the day. And then I'll sum it up for you. Hello, Barcodes. Good to see you. Now, could it be completely wrong about how this war plays out and who has actually come out as the winner versus the loser? I could be wrong. But I've watched it pretty closely, and I've seen the deterrent effect, and I've seen the capacities of each side. Alright, so I've been up since about, I'd say 3 in the morning U.S. time. So maybe like 13 hours ago. I think that's about when I woke up. I gotta take you through the whole day, or what happened at the end of the day just won't make sense. Because it all happened really, really fast. So I'm gonna give you the context, alright? When did I wake up? Or I guess it was actually like 2 in the morning. Also, that's Karen Reed and Adam Deitch. This picture makes the Michael Morrissey machine in Norfolk County really mad. It has nothing to do with the war whatsoever. Really. I just want to put it on the screen because it makes Michael Morrissey and Michael Proctor's people's really mad. So that's Karen and Adam Deitch. Anyway, he's running for Norfolk County District Attorney. That doesn't impact most of you. I just thought I'd mention it. Alright, so this is where the day started. Alright? It looks like it started with this Hezbollah drone attack. It didn't. It started with Israeli attacks on southern Lebanon, which is just a given. Every day during the ceasefire, Israel was attacking southern Lebanon. The only thing they weren't doing was attacking Beirut. They started attacking Beirut about 2 weeks ago during the ceasefire. The rule was no attacking Beirut, or Iran would attack Israel. They attacked 2 weeks ago, maybe less than a week. Iran bombed back. Israel today bombed Beirut again, but to understand what happened, you gotta watch these videos. So, earlier in the day, South Lebanon gets bombed. In response, this is what Hezbollah did. Hezbollah bombed North Israel. Now, Mr. President Trump's gonna comment on this specific attack later in the day, so just denote that in your mind. There's a Hezbollah drone near, I think it was near Metula, north of Kiryat Shimona. It was early today, early Sunday. And remember, Sunday's a school day and a work day in Israel. They take Saturday off and they work Sunday and go to school. So there were kids going to school during this.
Boom.
So again, this is, I'm going to show it twice because this is what started everything. Mr. President Trump made a post on social media about this specific attack. Now you're going to be shocked how he categorizes it or contextualizes it, but you got to watch it so that you'll understand it. So it's a drone and it's aiming for a military site. It's not trying to hit people, not civilians. It's trying to hit a military site, and it does. But it's in the middle of nowhere. You gotta see the context. They're not targeting a civilian settlement. They're hitting a military outpost, probably like a radar system, maybe an Iron Dome launcher. That's what those drones do. All right. Now, in response, first of all, a bunch of things happened very quickly. Immediately in response, so before they hit Beirut, Israel, this morning, issued an evacuation order for the following towns. I'll have British reporter Tal read it.
Conversation.
This was earlier.
Urgent warning to residents of Lebanon located in the following towns and
This
villages.
was 15 hours
Al-Zaria,
ago.
Kafr Bada, Al-Karyab, Ansa, Nabatieh, Arsi, Baraka, Mazra'at Bisefa, Nabatieh, Mazra'at al-Yahudiya, Mazra'at al-Wasita, Mazra'at Jamjam, Mazra'at Kalvariyat al-Raz, Matriat al-Shuma. In light of the terrorist Hezbollah party violating the ceasefire agreement, the Defense Army is compelled to act against it forcefully. The Defense Army does not intend to harm you. Out of concern for your safety, you must evacuate your homes immediately and move north of the Zahrani River. Anyone present near Hezbollah elements, their facilities, and their combat means endangers their life. Avichai Adrayi, this is a...
Alright, so it kind of started in the morning. This is I wouldn't call this traditional. I'd call all of that within the rules of engagement, okay? What was not within the rules of engagement is what was about to happen next. Now, after Israel issued that warning, there was a massive displacement from southern Lebanon, which is it's a humanitarian disaster zone in South Lebanon. The 55 villages in South Lebanon, 52 are Shia Muslim, 3 are Catholic Maronite. It's a long story. It involves Mount Carmel. It's a very cool story, the Catholic Maronites. The Pope sent Nunzio Borgia to one of those communities because they kept getting bombed. Remember, the father died earlier in the war. That was in that area. The Catholic priest died. That was in that area. So this was the response to that initial warning from Israel. This was before the Beirut bomb. So this is civilians fleeing South Lebanon this morning. There was a massive displacement, and this is what you don't want to see, because this is the real impact of war. Well, the bombings are horrifying, but the humanitarian displacement. That's why we had to save the goats. Oh, God bless you too, Bear. This is probably actually close to the area where our goats came from. Lebanon's not that big. It's probably close to the size of New Jersey, maybe a little bigger, maybe a little smaller. Now, Hezbollah, for their part, also overnight, revealed a new video showing a new missile. It's called the Jihad 2, but it's really a variant of an Iranian BM-45. It trades a 45-kilometer range from the Iranian variant to a 20-kilometer range, but it increases the size of the warhead from 120 kilograms to 245. This was the first time I've seen them roll this out. They put it out, the attack was probably a day or two ago on the 9th, so a few days, but this is the missile. I've never seen Hezbollah use it. I don't know how Iran got this, probably through Jordan, maybe through Syria, more likely through the northern route in Syria near, what's the town in the north? Is it Aleppo? Hold on one second. Yeah, it's Aleppo, and like Homs. The north of Syria is a good route to run that. North Lebanon, Beirut, anything north of Damascus in Syria, you're okay. The only anti-missile batteries in Syria are in Damascus. Syria is quite an intense country, but yeah, I would guess Iran got this in through the northern route. They just land smuggled it. But this is a serious missile. Lurley said, it just epiphanized, I think you might be the most authentic person on the internet. Please never change that. The world needs eccentric individuals and zombies, and your help inspires. Oh, God bless you, Lurley. What a nice thing to say. That's one of the most touching things anyone ever said to me. You're very kind. So, this is a Hezbollah. I'll just reflect on that and just say that's kind. I don't know. I said once to someone, the easiest way to come across as authentic is to just be authentic. I don't know. So I've always just tried to live by that. I like universalizing my maxims. I don't know. I try to think, how would I activate the will, what I was doing to be a universal moral law that everyone had to follow at all times. So every decision I make, I try to universalize the maxim in line with the categorical imperative. Now, I have a pretty efficient system for making rapid decisions in line with that standard. You know, I do my best. But the human relationship to truth and universal morality is asymptotic, after all. And we're going to only approach but never touch it. If we could touch it, we would be God, and I don't believe in that. Anyway, so that's the picture of the Lebanese flag. They eventually do the heart over it. Oh, God bless you, Max. Love you, so kind. I'm going to screenshot that comment from Lurley. That was such a nice comment. Actually, I want to take a picture of it. What a nice comment. I'm touched. My soul, my towel soul is touched. God bless you, Lurley. All right, let's continue. So this is, I'll show you the video, but that was just an analysis of their new missile. Here's another video from Hezbollah as well. Oh yeah, so here's the actual video. It's from June 4th, but they released it yesterday. Let me just show you the video. This was from Hezbollah. This is that new missile. It's a pretty cool, interesting variant. This is the Hezbollah song. You know, whether or not you agree with Hezbollah, I think everybody likes Lebanon. You know, I've never seen a country that more people care about and love than Lebanon. Seriously, you'd be surprised, because a lot of civilizations go back to that area. I mean, Sur, Tyre in the English, is the oldest continuously inhabited city on Earth, so, of course. But my point is, a lot of people love Lebanon. You'd really be surprised. There's no one who doesn't like Lebanon. There are people who dispute how Lebanon should be run as a country, but nobody dislikes Lebanon. It's kind of universally loved. I mean, the Pope likes Lebanon. Everybody, Iran likes Lebanon. You know, everybody, except for Israel. We're working on that, though. First 48, I think it actually starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. But yes, I think it's on YouTube. I don't know. It might be on YouTube through Paramount Plus. I don't know. But yes, they do have coverage of it. What we're looking for, though, is 8 p.m. That's the big moment, because that's when the Japanese markets open and that's when the event starts. If we get through 8 p.m. with nothing happening, this deal is real. So we got an hour and 17 minutes. And then if it's real, I'm sleeping for 12 hours. I put my body, I'm not in the war, trust me, it was way worse. Don't even underestimate it. It was way worse, not, God forbid, the soldiers, but the humans, the civilians who lived under this war, the bombs falling for months. But to cover it, it really took its toll. It really did. And I want to sleep. I haven't slept for more than maybe an hour and a half in a row in 3 months, because I leave the alert app on for every city overnight. So every time an alert happens, I wake up and I screenshot it and then I report it and go back to bed. So I haven't slept for more than 90 minutes in like 3 months. Anyway, let's continue. God bless all of you. Sounds right, first 48. So that was that new rocket. It is worthwhile to create a historical record of it. It's a new rocket. It's a variant of an Iranian rocket. It's kind of interesting how it trades. So Hezbollah doesn't need a long range. They're mostly hitting from Haifa Bay north. So they give up the longer range. I don't know why Iran needs a 45-kilometer missile. I'm going to guess that's probably the distance from like Bandar al-Abbas to like Kuwait, or maybe one of those southern cities in Iran to Bahrain and Kuwait, depending on where you go on the coast. Because why else would they need a 45-kilometer missile? There isn't, like, Iran's really far away from most places. The only places in Iran you could hit with a 45-kilometer missile are what? Like UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait, Saudi. You could hit the Persian Gulf, and then you could hit maybe Suleimania. I guess they might use it against the U.S. bases in the north of Iraq, near Erbil and Mosul. Yeah, and I guess you could use it. I guess what they really want it for is like from the area, from like Basra, the Penne exclave in the south of Iraq. A Penne exclave is a piece of land that's bordered by two different countries on two different sides, water on one side and its own country on the other. And then Kuwait's to the west of that. So if you take that missile, I guess that's actually very useful. Now I understand. I was like, what do they need a 45-kilometer missile for? But yeah, that makes sense. That's a heavy missile too, 250 kilograms, depending on how fast it goes. It could cause a lot of damage. Remember, force equals mass times acceleration. Missiles don't use the size of the warhead per se. That's a force modifier, an exponential force modifier. The equation we're talking about is all with missiles is always force equals mass times acceleration. Speaking of missiles, let's take a look at another piece of footage that Hezbollah released to start the day. It's from May 28th, but it was only released today, and it's some other kind of missile of which I know nothing about. Hey, Interpretel, do you know how Switzerland was founded? I highly recommend taking a look into this. I watched a great lecture. Well, I'm watching it, so I'm simultaneously listening to Will Durant's The History of Civilization. It's like 70 volumes, and I'm listening to this Yale lecture series about the origin of Abrahamic religions, like foundationally rooted in a juxtaposition between the emergence of those Abrahamic religions as monotheism with the existing polytheistic cult, so I can trace back these damn Baal-worshipping Canaanites or Babylonians or Assyrians or whatever the hell they are, and prove that they're still around. But anyway, my point is, along with that, why was I bringing this up? I was listening to Will Durant, I was listening to the lecture series, and then someone asked an interesting question. Oh yes, and then I was also learning about the history of Switzerland. Well, if you go back to like the 800s or 900s, you're going to find out that there was these four friends who met on like a lake or near a lake, and they were upset at the king. So that one of them went to the king and was like, I'm going to overthrow you. And the king was like, oh yeah, well you have to shoot an apple off your son's head. And the dude was like, okay. So then he did it. And then he overthrew the king. But Switzerland was like, but we don't want to be a king. We don't want kings. We just want to be like, our own people. So we, the Swiss, should train all of our people to resist the expanding European feudal monarchies of the 800s and 900s. Well, thus created the birth of Switzerland. The reason why the Pope has the Swiss Guard as his personal army. You got to be born in Switzerland. You can only serve a tour of like 2 to 6 years after training for like 18. It's ridiculous. It's because their entire population is designed from birth to insulate them from invasion. Oh, it's water under the fridge. I was just thinking about you, my friend. God bless you. We have a peace deal. And also, God bless Switzerland. God bless you, my dear and beloved defender of the Great Lakes. God bless you, water under the fridge. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Swiss, we'll talk more about Switzerland next Friday, but I've been learning a bunch about the origin of Switzerland, and it turns out, did you know the first usage of the phrase well-regulated militia without a dependent clause actually comes from the Swiss? Yes, it's true. Thomas Jefferson and the rest of our founders borrowed that phrase from Swiss literature. Now, as far as I'm aware, they were also aware of Kant. Jefferson wrote a letter to a pastor in Philadelphia referencing Kant. It's crazy to me that Kant was in Königsberg, which is now Kaliningrad. It's an exclave oblast. It means a piece of land that's not connected to its home country, but is surrounded by other countries on 3 sides and water on another side. Kaliningrad, or Königsberg as it was known when Professor Kant was around, is the only exclave oblast in the entire world. It wasn't an exclave oblast in 1790 whatever. Then it was just part of, I want to say, I call it the Bavarian Empire, which never existed. People from Bavaria apparently love that I think they had an empire. Though it was probably part of the Prussian Empire, I would guess, because that makes the most sense. You should watch Barry Lyndon if you want to learn about the Prussian Empire. It wasn't a very nice army to be conscripted into. Anyway, what was the point of that? Professor Kant, and then going back. So Jefferson was learning about the Swiss, and that's where he got the phrase well-regulated militia, and the point of a well-regulated militia is to create a state akin to Switzerland, where the people ward off external and internal usurpation by feudal lords via like military training, and that's why the Pope uses them as his personal guard. Yeah. And in short, the history of Switzerland. It's all pretty right too. I skipped some things, but that's pretty much right. Switzerland's pretty cool. I went there one time. I forget where I was going. Where was I going? Why was I in Switzerland? I don't really remember. I can't think of a reason why. Maybe I was going to, like, the Greek islands? I don't remember. Anyway, I was in Switzerland. They spoke, like, 3 languages. They spoke French, and they spoke German, and they spoke English, and I don't know if Swiss has a language. They spoke a lot of languages. It was confusing to be in the airport. Anyway, I don't really remember why I was in Switzerland. I've been to a lot of places now that I think about it. I would just kind of sit around, look at places. I was a little baffled most of the time. Anyway, hey, wait a minute. Should we send Towel to Switzerland for the peace deal signing? Wait a minute. Who thinks, wait a minute. I think we can actually do this. That would be hilarious. Hashtag, let's send. I will go to Switzerland for the peace deal signing if you will send me there. Who wants to send me to Switzerland? Let's do it. I will go on a plane next week and go to Switzerland. That would be great. Imagine if this culminated with me going to Switzerland and covering the peace conference. Who are you? Oh, my name's Grant. That would be great.
الصحراء وأبيها وبعدها وبنيها والسر المستودع فيها اللهم يسر لنا أمرنا ويسر عنايتنا.
Yeah, that's quite a missile. That's quite a missile, I must say. That's a mean missile. This is a very mean missile. Hello, Alvaro. Tiffany Bob, I agree. Hashtag Towel in Switzerland. If anybody works for an airline and wants to send me to Switzerland, let's do it. I think that's the only way to do it. We are not buying a plane ticket. We got to find someone who works at an airline and can put me on one of those beds I can lay on. Hashtag send Towel to Switzerland. I know, Tiffany Bob, listen. If you're out there right now and you hear my words and you're like, oh, I got miles, I'm going to get this kid a lay flat seat to go to Switzerland. That's my only request. I will go to Switzerland for you. Now I'll go to that press conference. I'll report on it, and I will turn around and come back the same day. It'll be great. And ideally, let's find an airline with Starlink on it, but I'll take any airline. Can't we just get me in the press pool? Can the government take me along? Hashtag put Towel in a C-130 and send him to Switzerland. Missile from Hezbollah. That was different than the other missile. That was a big green missile. Now I'm going to show you how this all started today. That was our quick send Towel to Switzerland break. If you're just tuning in, we have a peace deal, but it did not come easy. It did not come easy. It came hard. So it started this morning in Deweir, D-W-E-I-R, in southern Lebanon. There was just devastation, as has become the daily reality. Ah, okay. No, I won't be drinking any of that. Thank you, Interpretal. You could be my spiritual protector. Okay, then again, this was the result. You saw the result of the airstrike. This was the initial moments. So Israel was bombing in southern Lebanon. I want to be clear. Okay, I'm going to show you on the ground footage. Israel was bombing before Hezbollah struck. I was getting mad that people were saying Hezbollah violated the ceasefire when it just wasn't true.
Yes, right then.
This is South Lebanon this morning. Filled over, Montreal. There may be peace, by the way, but the reconstruction of southern Lebanon is going to take years. They've done it before, but this should never have happened. The reconstruction of southern Lebanon is going to take years. They've done it before, but this should never have happened.
الو ايه مين معك؟ ايه عدول والله مش عارف هلا اتغرب الطريق
I did not know that, Tiffany Bob. Hello, RHM. Alright, so juxtaposed with learning about the YouTube name change thing, which is kind of fun. This is not fun. That is the human reality of war. This is why when people say Hezbollah sending, this is why Mr. President Trump, I don't think, bought that Hezbollah violated the ceasefire. Alright, now I'm going to read you the summary of the attacks in South Lebanon yesterday into this morning. And you tell me who violated the ceasefire.
Conversation. Summary of Israeli attacks on Lebanese territory on the 13th of June 2026. Airstrikes, Tulan, Deir Zarani, Sadiqun, Shukan, Kayfa Tebnit, Lat, Bin Blat Dibine, Ser al-Garbia, Mifnan, Burj Kalawiya, Al-Sawana, Barashit, Al-Haniya, Adsit.
Breaking. Oh no. This can't be. Damn it. This is per Maariv, M-A-A-R-I-V, and it's an Israeli outlet. This cannot be. I'm very made. Gonna have to breathe here. Don't make me play the song. Iran's gonna get him. I'm made. This can't be right. I'm made. Interpretal. Wait till you hear this nonsense. This just came across the wire. Again, I'm citing to Maariv, M-A-A-R-I-V. It's an Israeli outlet. Quote, Benjamin Netanyahu directly rejects the Lebanon clause of the U.S.-Iran agreement announced by Pakistan, telling Mr. President Trump the IDF will not withdraw from Lebanon and that Israel does not consider itself bound by the clause. Repeating, Maariv, in the last 30 minutes, an Israeli outlet report, this is not confirmed, it may be by other outlets in time, but this can't be real, they can't be doing this. Why are you doing this? Quoting from Maariv, Netanyahu directly rejects the Lebanon clause of the U.S.-Iran agreement announced by Pakistan literally like an hour ago, telling Mr. President Trump the IDF will not withdraw from Lebanon and that Israel does not consider itself bound by the clause. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, Mishigama confirms that it's real. I figured it was real. Maariv, although I don't read them often, I figured they wouldn't just make something up. They're kind of like Channel 12. If anything, they get stuff that they shouldn't. Let's continue. Oh goodness, this is not good. They can't be doing this. Oh no. Oh, someone asked, by the way, why is there background noise recently? I have a fan on. I'm sorry. It's like 90 degrees in Boston most days right now. So I have a fan that just moves around cool air in my room. It keeps the electronics cool with the AC. So I need to have, because of the nature of the setup, I have to have fans running when the temperatures go up to keep the electronics happy. But yes, I am aware that you can hear the fans, but it's just part of being in an environment with a lot of electronics. You'd be surprised what you need. You don't need a lot of power. You need a lot of, like, processing, like, speed to do this. So it needs to run cool. So I have to keep the room very cool. Any server, like, farm you go to, any place that runs tech will have a lot of moving air that's very cold. I'm also a towel myself that runs hot, so the fan in the summer is very helpful, but you will hear it. And if it gets distracting, I will alter the way the mic filters out the background noise, but I don't want to do that right now. And this wasn't a comment on stream, it was actually a comment someone left on a video I uploaded. I just was reading it on my phone right now. Let's continue with the list of Israeli bombings in Lebanon yesterday into today.
Ansit. Kaifa Raman. Ansa. Al-Zaria. Nabatieh al-Fawqa. Bin Kaifa Tabnat Nabatieh al-Fawqa. Rashkanania. Al-Kayfor. Sajd. Al-Bazuria. Kalawiya. Kalvariyat al-Ruz. Deir Kanan al-Nar. Al-Ramadia. Al-Rayan. Majdalzun. Al-Ghasniya. Karbat Salm. Nabatieh. Toul. Froon. Kaifa Jews. Al-Kayfor. Drone strikes, Sultanieh. Beit al-Sayyad. Kafrahuna Aramta Road. Al-Rayan. Al-Majadal. Kafar Raman. Sadiqwan. Habush Road. Habush. Zefta. Shukan. Aramta. Kalvariyat al-Sayyad. Kalvariyat al-Ruz. Al-Kasaba. Kafrahuna. Artillery shelling, Nabatieh. Kafar Jews. Rika. Sultanieh. Majdal Salm. Ali al-Taha. Majdalzun. Kabrika. Outskirts of Al-Rayan. Kafar Raman. Deir Maimas. Daban, incendiary shells, Shukan. Karbat Salm. Al-Kasaba. Wadi Zichan. Balah. Al-Katrani. Zichan. Froon. Yama al-Bika. Al-Samaiya. Deir Kanan Ras al-An. Al-Gandoria. Karbat. Kafrat Tibnit. Tulan. Kalawiya. Summary of Israeli attacks on Lebanese territory on the 11th of June 2026.
That was a few days ago, but just so you understand, Israel is referring, how much more bombing do they need to do? How much more? I mean, they, even after getting to do all, quote, after doing all that bombing, they still won't leave. Oh, I'm going to get mad. This was another raid this morning. Israel had a chance to just get out of this. It could all end. There would be no attacks in the north. There would be no attacks anywhere. It could all just end. All of this traces back to this intransience. Bibi, just because it will make him look bad, and he does look bad. He's refusing to do it. Makes me so mad. I'm going to give you a quick Ukraine update now. By the way, Ukraine continues to administer its long-range sanctions on Russia. This was from President Zelensky this morning. No, this post, please. Thank you.
Conversation. Our warriors have achieved good results in applying long-range sanctions against important facilities on the territory of Russia and in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine.
Keep us
More than
updated, First
700
48.
kilometers from our state border, in Russia's Yaroslavl region, SSU warriors struck an oil facility that was important for the reserves of the aggressor state. Warriors of our army reached their targets in Russia's Tula region, specifically the Azov plant, whose operations are critical to explosives production capabilities. Air traffic restrictions were imposed at 6 Russian airports, and overall, since yesterday evening, 28 regions of Russia have been under air raid alerts. There were also hits on the occupiers' military logistics in the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine.
Update from reporter now, First 48. The UFC event has been delayed by an hour, probably due to weather. Mr. President Trump got in a fight with the Weather Channel. Kofi was baffled. I heard reporter tell Kofi, "Hi Kofi, yes you are a dog. Yes, the TV man is talking to you. How are you doing, Kofi? I love you dearly. How are you, Bo? How are you, Bunny? Tell Mom." Now, take a listen. What were we talking about with Kofi? Oh yes, so Kofi was mad because Mr. President got in a fight with the Weather Channel. Mr. President used a cuss word and he was mad at the Weather Channel for reporting the weather. Now, frankly, you can get mad at the Weather Channel for a lot of things. They name winter storms for some strange reason to try to commercialize them, etc., etc., etc. The reduction of funding for the NOAA, etc., etc., etc. But you can't blame the Weather Channel for reporting the weather. That's what they do. They send people out into storms. They stand around in fishing gear, and they're like, "Look, it's raining." And then I'm like, "Yeah, it's raining. I hope it doesn't rain too much. That doesn't seem like a good thing." So anyway, my point is, the president got in a fight with the Weather Channel over the weather. He didn't get in a fight with them over politics, although I'm pretty sure he thought it was. He kind of worked himself into a shoot. It's happening a lot recently. And he convinced himself that the Weather Channel reporting the weather meant that they were trying to, insult him. I think they were literally just trying to report the weather. So he looked really bad. Anyway, the event has been delayed by 48 hours because, wouldn't you know it, the people who report the weather were right, and there is actually bad weather in Washington, D.C. Radars, how do they work? Frickin' science. Anyway,
There were also hits on the occupiers' military logistics in the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine.
I am thrilled to hear that for you, water under the fridge. God bless you, my dear friend.
There were also hits on the occupied...
We gotta do the rain dance for the protector of the Great Lakes.
There were also hits on the occupiers' military logistics in the temporarily occupied territory of Ukraine. Ukraine is carrying out its plan of long-range sanctions against Russia and the assigned tasks regarding mid-range strikes in response to Russia's refusal to end this war. We have offered the Russian leadership every possible format for negotiations, and the only response was continued aggression and attempts to expand it. It stands to reason that the war is coming back to where it came from. Ukraine needs peace. Glory to Ukraine.
Reporter tell Kofi relays to reporter tell Mom Bunny that Mr. President was concerned because the Weather Channel was telling people the weather was bad because he thought that meant they wouldn't go. I understand. I mean, generally though, you don't want to go outside when it's bad weather. We're having some thunderstorms around here. I guess if, Towel Girlfriend wanted to go dance in the rain, like to Frank Sinatra, I'd totally be down to dance in the rain. But on the whole, I like to listen to the pitter-patter of rain. I found it very soothing, akin to clumsy clairvoyance's enjoyment of the whooshing sound of the fan to keep the electronics and the towel cool. But anyway, my point is, generally you tell people about the weather because, yeah, they don't want to go out in bad weather. Why would you don't you think they'll be more mad if they go and there's bad weather than they can't see what they went to see? Then they're just going to be mad. Why would you want them to be mad? I'm going to show you the videos from Ukraine now. This may be loud, so I think the first one has a drone hitting an oil refinery. I'm going to put the sound warning. What you hear there is anti-aircraft fire, and then you're going to see the drone hit. That's another drone. That's not a friendly drone. That's a mean drone. Not that there's any friendly drones, but that's one of those drones. That's like an $8 to $10 million drone. I'm pretty sure. The ones with the thing on the back are very expensive. They're a new type of drone. So yeah, Ukrainian long-range sanctions, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's take a look now. I don't think this is good. Iran's not accepting this deal if Israel won't leave Lebanon and stop bombing. Mimi, Oh, God bless you. God, Mimi says it's the low when one turns 80 years old. Don't mess with the weather woman. Never argue with a woman, ever. God bless you, Mimi. It's so good to see you. I needed your wonderful energy tonight. You are just the best. Mimi, hello, Ellie, and Mimi, and Triple and Bob. Oh, this is just a town friend party. How are you all doing? Hi, Triple and Bob. You are on a 10. Yes. Oh, I should. Triple Bob does the reminder. You can support this channel. There's a Cash App, money sign Grant Smith Ellis. There's a Venmo at Grant-E1. There's a PayPal, paypal.me/Grant Ellis. Thank you all. We can spread the love around, and then everybody can help Tao stay alive. It's a one-man operation. Public service, public information service designed to educate, inform, and entertain, such as to engender cogent public discourse, thus warding off the usurpation of our forms of government worldwide. All right, let's take a look at Courtney Boneo's report now, one of the best reporters in southern Lebanon. I'm honored to say that Courtney Boneo now follows me. Almost every reporter from Lebanon follows me. I'm truly honored. God bless the people of Lebanon, and God bless the people on the ground who told their stories for months under the threat of bombs falling on them. You must understand how dangerous it is. I don't care who you're affiliated with. Al Jazeera, Al Arabia, Sky News, Al Mayadeen, Al-Mana, it doesn't matter. You go in RT, you go into South Lebanon and you're reporting, you are a target. Okay? It's the reality. It's horrifying. And Courtney Boneo is one of the bravest reporters. You got Heidi Pett, you got Zena Kaddour, Ali Hashim, Steve from RT, and then you got a litany of Arabic-speaking journalists, but there's only so many English-speaking reporters who will run into bombs in southern Lebanon and then tell you about it, and Courtney Boneo is one of them. Give her a follow. No, this is... Hello, Standing Stones. No, this is Courtney Boneo, who is an independent journalist. I think her partner is an Al Jazeera Arabic journalist. She speaks Arabic and English. She is an independent journalist who has lived through the entire war and reported from southern Lebanon. I'm talking Sor, Nabataya, Al-Qaim. She went to Al-Qaim while it was like getting shelled by like Markava tanks and like Hezbollah's firing tanks, like anti-tank rockets. She's standing there like, oh yeah, well there's the tank and that's the rocket. Oh, I should probably duck down. And then the rocket would hit. She'd duck down. She is a fit. You want to talk about nerves of steel? There's so many unsung heroes that just because they're not part of the corporate edifice, and this extends to Zena Kaddour, who's like the dean. So there's a small press corps that covers this region and has for a while. I've only covered this since 2023, but I do know a lot about it. The dean of the press corps is probably Zena Kaddour. I think Ali Hashim is probably... There's probably co-deans. You can't really differentiate between Ali Hashim and Zena Kaddour. They're just... Like, Ali Hashim is from South Lebanon, but he's an expert on Iran. And during the war, Al Jazeera would have him in Doha and Tehran. Zena Kaddour just is always in Lebanon. Sometimes in Syria, but always in Lebanon. Always. Always. Courtney Boneo is also always in Lebanon, specifically South Lebanon. Zena Kaddour does go south, but she mostly sticks around Beirut. She can move freely in Beirut easily, so she sticks around there. And then you'll get some reporters that travel. It's really hard to travel between Beirut in the center of Lebanon and where Courtney Boneo is because all the bridges are bombed out. They'll rebuild them. But you can't, if you just drive around in South Lebanon, like, you're going to get picked up and they're probably going to hit you unless they know not to hit you. And, like, she is very prominent, even though she's independent, but she's a hero still. She's probably one of the people, although she has connections, I think, to Al Jazeera Arabic, and you don't want to mess with Qatar. They get really mad when you mess with their journalists. Really mad. She's the bravest person I know. She's not the longest tenured reporter, but the bravest by far. Hello, Marjorie. You're right about that, my dear friend.
On the border of Syria. It has a population of about 100,000 people. In 2024, the town was hit with 30 airstrikes on the first day of the 66-day war, and then on average about 3 to 4 times per day. During the subsequent ceasefire period, there were regular drone strikes on vehicles, and during the last war, there were approximately 20 airstrikes. There have been 120 civilians killed in attacks, and hundreds more have been wounded since 2024. Today I visited the location of a civil defense center that was completely destroyed by an Israeli airstrike on April 8th, killing 3 paramedics and leveling the building. Attacking medical professionals is a war crime. Israel is also home to a large population of displaced people. Approximately 1,000 families from the south are living here now after being forcibly displaced from their homes. They still have no clear answers on whether or not they will ever be able to return home. And again, forced displacement is a war crime. Israel is committing acts of genocide in Lebanon, and the funding comes from American tax dollars.
Okay, so this is why Iran's red line in South Lebanon is so important. Now, here's where it got intense. So at 6:35 a.m. or so, maybe a little earlier, Beirut was struck today. This was the first report of it. I didn't believe it. I swear to you, I did not believe it. I couldn't imagine it. I was blown away. This is confirmation, though. You're going to see how it played out. Israel hit Beirut again.
I'm reporting to you.
Now, I have footage for you of the moment of the strike. I actually went and got the webcam myself. This is the footage of the strike on Beirut. You don't see the actual impact, but the camera does catch the follow-up. Now, here's what it looked like on the ground. Israel hit what it claimed to be a Hezbollah command center. It looks like it's just a residential building. 1 person was killed. They're not in this video. No people injured are in this video. 4 people were injured.
علم هاي بوش محلنا هون استهداف علم هاي بوش محلنا هون استهداف.
This was Beirut this morning. I'm gonna show you now footage from inside the building. That was
الضرب يا اختي هيا هون هيا انا بالشقه بعد البنايه عم تولع عم بشيلوا العالم يا الله يا الله ما يكون في حدا.
It's clearly a civilian apartment building.
يا رب الضرب يا اختي.
He's inside the building that was hit.
هيا هون هيا انا بالشقه.
This is Beirut earlier today.
بعد البنايه عم تولع عم بشيلوا العالم يا الله يا الله ما يكون في حدا صاير له شيء يا رب. الضرب يا اختي هيا هون هيا انا بالشقه بعد البنايه عم تولع عم بشيلوا العالم يا الله يا الله ما يكون في حدا.
It's just I can't believe he lived. Thank God. I mean, thank God that those civilians lived. But look how close they were. Hello, Lavender and Rose. This is footage. This is actually shocking footage from inside the building in Beirut that was hit this morning. It was the afternoon in Lebanon, about 1 or 2 p.m. But it was the morning on the East Coast, and these civilians barely escaped with their lives. Their building is destroyed. There are holes in their balconies, not to mention all their windows and balconies are blown out. I don't know why he needs to get out of that building. I mean, he's trying to go to the safest place to be rescued because the internal is probably more dangerous. But that whole building is at risk of collapse.
الضرب يا اختي هيا هون هيا انا بالشقه بعد البنايه عم.
I mean, look, I don't know, I'm not a structural engineer, but you can see, we only got a partial view because he's literally in the building that was hit. There are crucial elements of the support structure of that building that are barely hanging on. And it's like you must understand, when you build a building, what are you really doing? You're displacing downward force outward. And then like allowing it to center on support columns, right? Like inwards, you're just moving force around and pushing it down, depending on where the support column is. If you take out that support column, all the other stuff, unless it's a very well-built building, a lot of the other stuff around it doesn't matter. Now, it's different if it's earthquake rated. If it was built to sustain damage, it can take damage. But if it's just a building, like your home or some like random office building, no. It cannot sustain damage to a like core element. And you can't know. That building might still be standing, but you can't know if you're on that balcony. You just gotta pray that like for like the next 5 to 10 minutes, that building stays up. The emergency crews, civil defense come in and they walk you out. And if you don't know, it's horrifying. And this man, I now understand, he has no choice. He's got to stand there until civil defense gets him, because if he walks through the building without knowing what he's doing, it could just all fall. That's terrible. And when anyone says civilians are bombed, they don't necessarily mean that the like target of the strike was a civilian. What they mean is Israel has a calculation it does based on the value of the target, how many civilian casualties they will accept. And that's what you're seeing. It doesn't just mean who you attack with the bomb. It's what the bomb does to the entire civilian complex around it.
يا الله ما يكون في حدا صاير شيء.
It's just terrifying to watch. Now, to make this even worse, the IDF immediately released video. So you just saw video from a porch of this building. The IDF claimed the strike. They bragged about it on their Twitter. And they released this video. It has no sound. Oh, so it wasn't... Yeah, I guess this is part of it, but it was this building. You saw footage from the apartment that is maybe like right there. You see where my mouse is? You saw footage from 6 or 7 stories up. The bomb clearly took out the entire lower half of the building. There were multiple bombs, actually. It looks like a double tap. Because you see 2 explosions. The first one on the right side of the building. First one, and then second one. There's a bit of a glitch in the actual IDF footage because it's from the drone camera. So it's not perfect, and when you spike the amount of data going to that kind of feed, it can't handle it. But yeah, and there are civilians driving on the road. Look at that yellow car. Look at that other car. These, like, this hurt civilians. There's no, you can argue all you want about who's in that building. They were reckless. This is why Iran responds to this kind of thing. Alright, now I'll show you more footage from the ground. This is what started this all off, and we got 36 minutes to see what Iran does. What Israel does is really the bigger question. If they bomb in southern Lebanon right now, they'll screw this whole thing up.
خلاص كمل روح اليمين فوت دغري على اليمين فوت دغري وعلى اليمين.
Nope, Israel has attacked. I repeat, Israel has attacked in southern Lebanon. I repeat, oh no, and Iran's gonna know about this because it went out on Quds network. I repeat, Israel has attacked in southern Lebanon just 3 minutes ago. I need to show the footage is with artillery shells. They have ignored the deal. They have broken the deal. They shelled the village of Kraufmaun in southern Lebanon as the residents were arriving back following the announcement of the ceasefire. I repeat, if this is confirmed, it will because it's from Quds and they have sources in the area. Israel has shelled southern Lebanon and violated the deal. They broke the deal immediately. I repeat, Israel broke the deal immediately. Here is the footage. This is from the south of Lebanon just 3 minutes ago. Oh! Well, there it is. I don't know what to tell you. They broke the peace deal immediately. And yes, Iran cannot just ignore it, because that means Iran looks weak. It's not a matter of whether Iran is willing to morally tolerate artillery shelling in South Lebanon. That's not the point. It's you either hold Israel to the terms, or there's no point in the agreement. Israel's trying to separate Lebanon from the agreement. Iran cannot and will not let that happen. I'm showing you it. This was 5 minutes ago in the town of Kraufman in southern Lebanon. That is Israeli artillery shelling. They just can't stop. If this is confirmed, which it will be, they're intentionally trying to provoke Iran, who has to respond. It's exceptionally frustrating. Let me blow my nose. Alright, let's go back to our updates from today. We have a big thunderstorm coming in. I'm going to show you more footage now of the Israeli strike on Beirut that started this all today. Now I'm going to show you footage that Hezbollah posted. It's not from, the footage is not from today, but it was released today. It's from June 13th, so yesterday, and it's footage from a drone. So Israel's attacking a lot, Hezbollah's attacking a little. That's the pace of activity. Hello, Miss FAFO. I think we have a serious problem because Israel is refusing to abide by the terms. Frankly, you know, one of the possible results of this could be that Mr. President says to Iran, all right, Israel's on their own, and then Iran attacks Israel with no American help. Let me show you Heidi Pett's report, one of the reporters. Standing Stones likes Heidi Pett a lot, who was on the ground in Beirut when this strike happened earlier. Here's her report in the minutes after it happened. Just a small clip.
Let's stay there. We're going to come back to you in just a moment. Let's go back to Heidi Pett, who's in Beirut. Listen, Heidi, you know this as well as I do. Beirut's a very small city. It's Sunday afternoon. People would have been out on the street.
In Kiev, Russian missiles are falling down right now, and they have hit a church.
Streets, they would have been shopping with their families in cafes, and this came at that exact same time.
That's exactly right. Dahia is one of the most densely populated parts of Beirut. It's the southern suburbs extending from the center down towards the airport. It is full of businesses, homes in high-rise apartment buildings. And yes, during the first couple of months of the war when it was being struck...
Quoting, this was released from the New York Times, just a small quote in the past 7 minutes. President Trump said in an interview on Sunday afternoon, unclear when, that the agreement he reached with Iran would ultimately assure that the Strait of Hormuz is, quote, permanently toll-free, and argued that, despite the objections of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, President Trump had saved Israel from nuclear obliteration. Mr. Trump also insisted that if Iran failed to reach a final nuclear accord with the U.S., a process his aides say they expect will begin on Friday in Switzerland, he would restart military attacks on Tehran or make the United States the guardian of the Middle East in return for 20% of the region's revenues. What?
Repeatedly.
Dude, what? You can't be the guardian of the Middle East. This is absurd. That's it. That's it. He's living in fantasy land again. Oh no, Pakistan, what did Pakistan do? Listen to me. I think Pakistan might actually, they're trying to help, but I think they might actually be the problem. They go and then they try to sell each side on a deal, and then somebody inevitably is like, wait a minute, I didn't agree to all that now. And then somebody else is like, well, they told me you did. Oh God. Oh no. This is exactly what happened last time. Oh, well, this can't keep happening.
Dahia did empty. People left en masse. But since the so-called ceasefire, which has been allowing Israel to operate effectively unrestrained in the south, but there had been restrictions on striking Dahia. And so a lot of people had gone back. I was there just a couple of days ago, in fact, speaking to people who had come back to their homes. They'd reopened their businesses. And yes, they didn't necessarily trust that that would last, but they also didn't want to be sleeping on the streets. And so Dahia, middle of a Sunday afternoon, it would have been very, very busy. People on the streets, people in their homes, people in their businesses, driving around on their cars and motorbikes. And yes, Israel has described this as a precision strike on what they have characterized as the headquarters of Hezbollah's communications network. There are so many civilians in Dahia. It is such a densely packed area of not just, as Israel often likes to characterize it, as Hezbollah supporters, or even not just Lebanon's Shia community, which is the social support base for Hezbollah, even if they're not all political or military supporters of that organization. But there are many, many other people who live in Dahia, other Lebanese. There are multiple Syrian refugees and large migrant worker communities who all are packed in there in that very, very dense, vibrant urban neighborhood, which has once again been hit with Israeli airstrikes without any...
Well, Standing Stones, I think it was more Israel struck a lot, hundreds of times over the past few days, and Hezbollah responded like 3 or 4 times at most, and then Israel used that as pretext to bomb Beirut to stop the peace deal.
Warning.
Because Israel objects to the peace deal.
That's Heidi Pett.
That was Heidi Pett in Beirut earlier. Now I have to take you to an update that just happened. I don't know how to explain what I'm about to report to you. It's disturbing. Russia has burned down the 1,000-year-old Kiev Parchesk Lavra Monastery. I can't believe what I'm reporting to you right now. So it started with this picture. And now sometimes what you will see is fire that is next to a building that looks like it's consuming a building. And I was just praying when this first broke that was a fire much like the last strike near a monastery in Kiev that wasn't going to consume the building. No. Russia has hit a monastery. They're burning down in 1,000. Russia has struck. First of all, what is the excuse? They burned down an 1,000-year-old monastery in Kiev. The actual building is burning down. They hit it with a missile or a drone, probably a missile. They hit the monastery itself. Wow. I mean, you gotta be really evil. You gotta be on a whole nother level. I can't believe Russia struck a 1,000-year-old monastery with either a missile or a drone. It's unclear what hit it. This is like 7 minutes ago. It's burning down right now in Kiev. I don't know what to say. That is absolutely a monastery on fire. It's a giant monastery, and it was hit very hard. Oh. Hello, Cheetah Torres. I think we're in the same cycle again. I was really hoping Mr. President got Bibi to stop this, knowing that Iran was just going to bomb Israel as if Bibi wouldn't stop. Thank you, First 48. Yeah, so Russia has most certainly just burned down a monastery in Ukraine. I'll get you more updates. I'm going to show you now more footage from the apartment in Beirut that was hit earlier that started this all again. Okay. Then, after this, Hezbollah did fire rockets after Beirut was hit at Kiryat Shimona. Interceptions in the sky with no air raids in this footage. No, Russia's hit that area before. No. Russia's hit that specific, near that, I've seen footage. No. I think either they were aiming for something near it or they were aiming for it. And they're unapologetic about it. That's more images from the strike on Beirut. It was carried out by 2 fighter jets with 4 guided missiles. Oh yeah, I don't imagine that you can show the event at the White House. You can probably report on it, but you can't show it. It's not, it is, there's an, you know, I'm not a lawyer, there's not legal advice. There's an argument that it's like on the White House grounds, but it's a private event. The government is not, as far as I know, actually running it.
علم هاي مش محلنا هون استهداف.
This is Beirut. So we've seen some of these clips. Alright, now I'm going to show you a second fire that was burning in Beirut. This was definitely a second strike. Just minutes later. You're going to watch the camera. It doesn't catch the initial strike, but it's going to pan. You're going to hear it. That's wind. See right there? See this fire start going up? That was another strike. This one nobody announced. See this? This fire burned for 40 minutes. This was not the one that targeted the residential building. This is a completely different area of Beirut. And if you watch what happens, this goes for a while. It causes a massive fire. The fire just keeps getting bigger. I'm jumping forward a few minutes. And this was maybe an hour after the first one. So they struck twice. There's no doubt about it. But this one was not talked about at all. Which is not... And then there was a follow-up on that. Now, when I say there was a massive fire, I mean for 30 to 40 minutes, this area of Beirut burned. It just burned. It went and went and went and went. It did eventually go out. Now, Hezbollah did respond with as I said, missiles at Kiryat Shimona and then a drone in the north. Israel was bombing throughout the south all morning. Now, before Mr. President Trump signed the peace deal, I got to show you this short clip from Fox because Iran immediately threatened to attack Israel. This was this morning. So it was about 10 in the morning, U.S. time.
Israelis launched strikes against Hezbollah in the Lebanese capital of Beirut this morning. A number of strikes against the Hezbollah commander there in response to drone attacks that were launched over the border this weekend. Iran now says this will not go unanswered. And remember, just last weekend, they fired 30 ballistic missiles into Israel after the IDF launched similar strikes. Now, a diplomat involved in the talks told Fox News the strikes today in Beirut are creating issues with finalizing the deal. They went on to accuse Israel of sabotaging this agreement. The Israelis are pushing back, saying that their civilians are under threat in the northern part of their country, and these will not go unanswered, these attacks over the border. This does come amid an optimistic statement by the Prime Minister of Pakistan, who on Saturday posted to X saying, quote, "We are closer to a peace deal than ever before." With finalization likely expected in the next 24 hours, Pakistan is preparing for the electronic signing of the peace deal immediately after, followed by technical level talks next week. Now, Iran's foreign minister weighed in Saturday on the most sensitive issue within the agreement amid reports that a Qatari negotiating team arrived in Tehran today to push the understanding across the finish line.
postponed the nuclear issue to the final agreement for various reasons, as it was truly impossible to discuss it under current circumstances. The demands they had were in no way acceptable. Therefore, we brought up other issues that could be agreed upon in the first stage and postponed the nuclear issue to the second stage, which is, of course, a more difficult phase in which 60 days of negotiation have been envisioned.
This after President Trump posted a Truth Social overnight saying, in part, quote, "My agreement with Iran is the exact opposite, a wall to no nuclear weapon. In fact, they no longer want a nuclear weapon, nor will they have one, either through purchase, development, or any other form of procurement." The Iranians are continuing provocative action in the Strait of Hormuz as diplomatic efforts progress. CENTCOM said Saturday on X that Iran launched multiple one-way attack drones in an attempt to strike commercial ships transiting the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. forces have downed all of them in recent hours as traffic flow through the strait continues unimpeded. The international trade corridor remains open for transit. Now, if a deal is ultimately signed, we understand, according to a senior U.S. official, that the Strait of Hormuz will be immediately open to that traffic for international shipping to take place. Guys?
So Trey, you've been...
News,
all right,
the Israelis
hold on.
launched strikes against Hezbollah.
Okay, so that was when the rockets were launched at Kiryat Shimona, right as that report was happening. Now, just very sad news out of Rio, actually, Brazil, where Oliver Tree, a music artist who I actually really like, there's a song by Oliver Tree that I think I've listened to a lot. I want to tell you the name of it. It's F the Whole World. I think it's really good. I can't play it for you. It's not in the database, but I will play an Oliver Tree song that is in the database in his honor. He passed away today due to a tragic helicopter crash in Rio de Janeiro. This is the result of one of the crashes which hit a electric car parking facility. There were multiple secondary explosions. Now, the Brazilian people did rush in. They couldn't get into that lot. The fire department did eventually. The first lot, where one of the helicopters did not immediately burst into flames, the Brazilian people ran into that parking lot with fire extinguishers, special fire extinguishers. You have to use foam. You can't use water or like regular fire extinguisher. You have to be careful with airplanes and helicopters. I don't want to get into details. It has fuel. Anyway, so this Brazilian guy with a special kind of fire extinguisher just runs right into it and puts it out. Not that one. That one was out of control, but the other one. There were two helicopters. They collided, and tragically, I believe 4 to 6 people had passed away, including a YouTuber, God rest his soul, and the musician Oliver Tree. Both pilots were also killed in the crash. It was very, very sad. I will play now a song that's in the catalog before we move on in honor of Oliver Tree. Just a quick snippet. May God rest his soul. This is Nothing's Perfect, featuring Oliver Tree. a tribute to Oliver Tree. And that song is in the catalog. And I'll take you now to further footage from Hezbollah regarding another series of attacks. This is another missile called the Amman, launched on June 9th. And this is Hezbollah. Released today, but from June 9th. That was the latest from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. That was a new type of missile, an Arman. It's similar to a Fatah 360. Now I'll show you some footage released on Iranian TV. This is footage of IRG.
مجده خداست میگه اینا زندن پیش خدان خرسندند خوشحالند
خونین در آغوش حرم رفت دلا دیدی که حاجی زادم رفت سرود بیقراری خواندم باز چرا از غافل جا ماندم من آهی سرد و اشکی گرم دارم من از جا ماندن خود شرم دارم نشد روحم ز تنها زاد ای داد نشد این بار هم ای داد بیداد.
What is going on? Okay, we're back. Wow, that, okay. Listen, I need to be direct with you. That was the oddest thing I've ever had happen. Ever. I could not, like, I'm pretty good with this. Like, everything was good. But something did not want me to play. Like, someone somewhere does not want that video played. I mean, it went on Iranian TV. But, like, that, I took a hit there. And it just, like, sent me into a constant cycle of frame drops until I stopped playing that video. Here it is again. I'm just not gonna play that video, okay? It has nothing to do with the music. There's nothing in there that's our problem. But for some reason, like that video in particular, it it did not like that. Like my internet itself did not like that. The whole thing just did not like that at all. Nothing about that was good. We're back now, but that was some serious turbulence on AirTowel. Like some of the most serious turbulence we've ever had before. We're back. Hello, good to see you all. People who watch this will know the longest we ever get turbulence on AirTowel is maybe 10 seconds. It took me a full minute there to get everything set up after that. Like that went down really hard, and that was just a video documenting the IRGC commanders that had been killed during the war. The whole thing went down. I'm not kidding you, the whole thing. I lost the whole thing. The whole damn thing went down. I couldn't make anything work. So I'm just, yeah, no, it's not you. A lot of you will have experienced that kind of thing before, like during the war, especially when it would get intense. It would just drop for a little bit. But yeah, that was odd. That was just odd. I'm just gonna move on Okay? We just won't finish watching that video. That whole thing was odd. Now, I do have another video released from Hezbollah today in southern Lebanon, which I will play for all of you back. That was odd. You might experience some frame drops from time to time, which is very normal. But never, like, me, like, just, that was like a message. Like, Grant, stop playing that video. Okay, I could take a hint.
هيدي بإذن الله شلناها ذكرناها رح نبعثها نرجع مطرح ما بعثناها قبل الماضي. ولسنا على حق نرجع بنعيدها مرة ثانية، إذا لا نبالي أوقعنا على الموت أم وقع الموت علينا. لبيك يا مهادي، لبيك يا شيخ نعيم قاسم.
First 48, keep me updated, my dear friend. I'm here if there's any reports of attacks. Silent dogs protect the goats. Okay, hello. If you're just tuning in, that was a video from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. I will show you how this all then played out. All right? So, as you saw a few minutes ago when I was covering it through the day, Beirut was attacked. Immediately, Iran said they were going to attack Israel. Mr. President, and you got to follow the events in linear order, which is what I'm going to show you so you understand whatever happens next, at least you understand what happened today. Mr. President called Mr. Netanyahu and said some very stern things. And I'm going to let Trey Yinks from Fox News, just a small clip, play it for you, and then I'll tell you about it. I can't even imagine what this call was like. Just listen to Trey, who's a reporter that speaks directly to the president. Let him tell you how it went down.
Yeah, Kevin, good afternoon. I just spoke with President Trump. He tells Fox News he believes a deal with Iran will be signed in the next 2 to 3 hours. I asked him about the Israeli strikes earlier today against Hezbollah in the Lebanese capital of Beirut. He tells me he spoke on the phone with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, asking him, "What the F are you doing?" He told the Prime Minister not to conduct additional strikes against Hezbollah so that it doesn't affect this deal from moving forward. Now, the Israelis are bracing for the possibility of incoming Iranian ballistic missile fire, according to the IDF. And President Trump tells Fox News he will ask Iran not to respond with missile fire toward Israel, with this deal on the horizon expected to be signed tonight. All of this taking place amid the backdrop of these latest conversations to get this final agreement across the finish line. The president talked about the strikes in the middle of last week when he was hammering many of those Iranian positions, pushing the Iranians back to the negotiating table. You might remember, Kevin, I was on the phone with the president as he was in the Situation Room, and the Iranians called him and asked him to stop the bombing. The president believes that moment was able to shift the equation and again get the Iranians to make these concessions. President Trump says if they sign the deal tonight, he will immediately order the blockade on Iranian ports to be lifted and then move forward into these more detailed discussions as it relates to Iran's nuclear program. But again, the latest headlines that we know here, President Trump telling Fox News he believes a deal with Iran will be signed in the next 2 to 3 hours. This will take place electronically, the president says. And then a week from now, there is expected to be an in-person signing that could take place somewhere in Europe. Again, the president responding after those Israeli strikes today against the Lebanese capital of Beirut. The Israelis were striking a Hezbollah position in response to drone fire over the border this weekend into northern Israel. Again, the
Trey, there's a third. I hate to be overly critical of my colleague, but Trey, there's a third part to that sentence, which was itself in response to relentless Israeli attacks on civilian areas in the south of Lebanon over the past 60 days.
President telling Fox News he asked the Israeli Prime Minister, "What the F are you doing?" Kevin?
That sounds very much like what the president would certainly say, but at the same time, Trey, I think it's fair to point out that if you're the Israeli government, you have every right to defend your citizens who have been under constant attack by way of Hezbollah. I guess a two-part question. One, can you understand why the Israelis would certainly feel that way very strongly, that they need to respond? And two, is Hezbollah...
Al Jazeera English reports Iran will be given $12 billion of their own money by Mr. President Trump. It's Iran's money, but Mr. President has paid them. He said, "Thank you, Iran, may I have another," and gave them $12 billion. Well, that JCPOA is looking pretty sweet, isn't it? What did we get from this? Iran was scared before, and very, conservative. I don't mean politically. I mean, they were conservative with their moves. They did strike, but they didn't, they feared American military aggression. What did we accomplish with this? We paid them billions. They were, they're nowhere different on their nuclear approach. This was the strangest war I've ever seen. I've covered some odd conflicts. This one takes the cake for just the strangest. It really tormented the world, frankly. And I don't get the sense it's over. But what are we doing? Seriously, what are we doing? And what is Russia doing? Russia's bombing the ever-loving hell out of Kiev right now. I need to show you what Russia's doing in Kiev. We need to pause this update. God no, it's 8 o'clock, by the way. I repeat, the Japanese markets are open. I didn't say it the first time, but I'll repeat it. The Japanese markets are open. What happens now is anyone's guess. If we make it through the next hour a little bit, we're good. But Kiev is not good. I'm gonna take you to Kiev now because I don't even know what to say. Oh, they really burned down this UNESCO World Heritage Site. I can't believe they burned it down. They straight up burned it down. They burned the damn thing down. They hit it with a drone or a ballistic missile. They burned a 1,000-year-old UNESCO heritage site down. The Russians are out of their mind. What are the Russians doing? Hi, Penny. Penny, Putin has lost his mind. Penny, Putin is burning to Penny. Putin used a ballistic missile on a 1,000-year-old monastery that's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Bibi has lost his mind. Putin has lost his mind. They're both talking to some strange demon, and the demon told Putin clearly to bomb a monastery. That's the only How else do you want me to explain this? I can't explain it. He blew up a monastery. Who does that? You know who does that? Madmen. Madmen, I tell you. You don't blow up monasteries. That's pointless. What are you accomplishing by using a ballistic missile on a monastery? Putin has lost his mind. Mimi, he bombed them. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Mimi, Putin has started to attack the World Heritage Sites. He's gonna what's he gonna do next? The Hagia Sophia? The Taj Mahal? Somebody's got to stop this man. And people were trying to tell me that Zelensky was the problem. All right. Zelensky might have done a lot of things. He's never bombed a monastery. All right? I can tell you that. How do I know? Because I'll look at all the clips. This is absurd. We cover a lot of bombings on this channel in different places. We've covered Russia and Ukraine, the war recently as well. Every day, my ability to appropriately convey my shock is going down because I don't have enough tones of voice left to convey how absurd that is, what I've just seen. Water Under the Fridge says, not the strangest, the stupidest war. Go destroy a country, then tuck your cojones and run instead of finishing any goal, however dumb they were. Nailed it. Nailed it. This is why you defend the Great Lakes, my dear friend. God bless you. Water Under the Fridge, the ever stalwart defender of the Great Lakes and human reason. That's why they call him Water Under the Fridge. This is, first of all, I'm mad about a lot of things. Water Under the Fridge nailed it. Silent Dogs nailed it. Francine nailed it. Mimi nailed it. Penny nailed it. Clumsy Clairvoyance nailed it. We're all on the same page. This is becoming absurd. We were supposed to do a little dance, watch the World Cup, be happy. I was going to sleep for 12 hours. And then Bibi Netanyahu and apparently Putin they've just lost their mind. Both of them, they're completely insane. I don't normally pass judgment like this, but there is nothing, you can't tell me that you sat around and you were like, well, you know what? Let's bomb the 1,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Site monastery because. No, there was no because. You just said you just were like, let's bomb the monastery. How's the monastery supposed to protect itself? Absurd. Absurd. And don't even get me started on the ridiculousness of the peace deal that isn't. And then Israel's response to it, I'm going to get all mad. I'm going to get even more mad. Oh, this is making me mad. They burned down the damn monastery. They hit it. Who? Seriously. We've gotten to the point in modern conflict where states attack monasteries with ballistic missiles. Not just random monasteries, 1,000-year-old UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And this was the same one, I'm pretty sure, that Russia almost hit before. So I believe they tried to hit it before and missed. Now, before we go back to Kiev, that is in Ukraine, by the way. Let me show you the moment the peace deal that isn't was announced on Iranian state TV. No caption.
آمریکا وادار به امضای تفاهم پایان جنگ با جمهوری اسلامی ایران و جبهه مقاومت شد. شهباز شریف از پایان دائم و فوری جنگ در همه جبهه‌های جنگ آمریکا علیه ایران و متحدانش خبر داد. نخست وزیر پاکستان از دستیابی به توافق پایان جنگ آمریکا علیه ایران خبر داد.
Yeah, 12 and 12. Indeed, too bare. I think it's going to be 24 total. Weirdly, I predicted it was going to be 28 billion. And they ended up wanting 24. I'm going to take you to Kiev right now. Kiev is being struck with drones and missiles. Silent Dogs, you know, I'm going to send you to Easter Island. I've decided that under the Silent Dogs theory, only Easter Island is a real country. Now I'm going to show you more footage from Kiev. Please be aware this could be very loud. Please cover your ears, protect the goats, protect your dogs, and the cats. This is Kiev tonight.
Я вот там вот снял, что туда прилетел, блядь. Ебать. Ебать, сука. Типа, обратно, ну и нахуй, блядь. Ты шо? Ну нахуй, блядь, сука. Бабанюра. Фу. Блядь, пизда. Тупо пиздец. Ебать, ебать.
Okay, well, I think Mr. Putin has made his point. He certainly likes to strike hard. So there's the Al Jazeera report. The U.S. will release $12 billion in Iran's frozen assets before the start of negotiations. according to the 14-point MOU between the two nations, as reported by Iranian state media. Now, let me get you that 14-point MOU. Let me have it read out for you by British Reporter Towel. He does a good job. He's a British Reporter Towel. All right, where are you, Brit? Where are you? I know I reposted the damn thing. Where's the 12 points of it? Here it is. We have the 14 points, ladies and gentlemen. It's no, perhaps in a moment of historical serendipity, like Woodrow Wilson's 14 points. Here is how Iranian Mer MEHR News reported the deal that the U.S. has just signed. If we're going to give them the Statue of Liberty, I don't know. Let's find out.
Glory to Ukraine. Conversation.
Starting again.
Mer News has released a short version of the 14 clauses of the MOU that will be signed on Friday between Iran and US. 1. The permanent and immediate halt of war on all fronts, including Lebanon. 2. A US commitment not to interfere in Iran's internal affairs and to respect the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran. 3. The complete lifting of the naval blockade within 30 days. 4. A US commitment to withdraw its forces from the areas surrounding Iran. 5. The reopening of the Strait of Hormuz within 30 days under Iranian arrangements. 6. The suspension of oil sanctions, petrochemical products and derivatives, and Iran's full access to the financial proceeds from them. 7. The requirement for the US and its allies to present reconstruction plans for Iran worth at least $300 billion. 8. 60 days of negotiations to reach a final agreement based on nuclear issues and the complete lifting of primary and secondary US sanctions, as well as UN Security Council resolutions and resolutions of the IAEA Board of Governors. 9. Iran's reiteration of its commitment under the NPT not to produce nuclear weapons. 10. During the negotiation period, the US has committed not to add to its forces in the region and not to impose any new sanctions. 11. The release of $24 billion of Iran's frozen funds during the 60-day period of final negotiations. Half of this amount must be made available to Iran before the negotiations begin. 12. The formation of a supervisory mechanism to implement the agreement. 13. The final agreement will be approved through a UN Security Council resolution. 14. Final negotiations will not begin before half of Iran's frozen funds are released, Iran's oil sanctions are suspended, and the naval blockade is lifted. The final agreement will be limited only to the fate of enriched materials and enrichment, sanctions relief, and the program for rebuilding Iran's economy. Discussions about Iran's missile program and support for resistance groups have been definitively removed from the agenda.
I feel... Alright. This is not real. Oh my god. Why me? Why us? This is not real. I'm telling you right now, something is not right. We did not... Going back to the first day of the ceasefire, no, we did not agree to give them the Statue of Liberty, hand over Canada, which we don't own yet, give up Detroit, give over the White House and Washington, D.C., and also, you know, our territorial possessions and half of our nuclear subs, and also the key to the National Archives, and then some, you know, random collection of U.S. franchisee interest, and $24 billion. Oh, of course, you can't forget about the $24 billion. And then immediate sanctions relief completely across the board, no reservations. Of course, we're going to do that. And then we're sending no new troops to the region whatsoever during the discussions. And then we've completely agreed that Iran is going to be working with the Houthis to build a regional axis buttressed by Hezbollah and the Blood Guardians in Iraq and the Mujahideen for the Islamic Resistance in Syria. They're going to emerge as the new Persian Empire condoned by the U.S., clearly. Now, the only thing Iran is giving up is they're just saying they're not going to produce nuclear weapons under the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, which they're already a signatory of. So, yeah, you know, I mean, I think Iran could have done a little better. They probably could have gotten New York. You know, I think, you know, they burned the school buses. Like, now's the time. If President Trump was going to give the Iranians New York, if you think about it, we kind of screwed over the Native Americans when we took, you know, New Amsterdam. So if the Iranians were ever going to move to get New York as part of a deal, now was the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing, Tehran? I don't mean to be morbid about this or sardonic, but IRGC, I think you could have gotten New York. I think he was ready to cut loose on New York too. With this deal, you know what? Here's my analysis of this deal. You know, it's missing a few primary components. First of all, we really needed to give them the Statue of Liberty. Can you really call it a complete deal if Mr. President Trump doesn't cut down the Statue of Liberty, put it onto a boat, and instead of sending it back to France, send it to Iran? I mean, that was a big part of this. Now, as to the rest of the agreement, you know, setting aside the actual reality that Israel's just not going to stop attacking in Lebanon, and they're attacking with artillery shelling right now. This is the same. I'm living in a Kafka novel. This is the same thing that we read 60 days ago. This is not either Pakistan just lies to both sides, which, I mean, at this point, why the hell not? You know, nothing matters. It's just everybody just goes day to day and just, you know, tries to figure it out. So who the hell cares, right? You just say what you need to in the moment to get it done, I guess, if you're Pakistan. All right. And then Iran's like, damn, we got a really good deal. And who knows? Maybe they just tell Mr. President what he wants to hear. They have him sign something, and then it goes over to the Iranians, and they're like, I can't believe he signed this. And they're like, yeah, don't think too much about that part, you know. Then they go back to Mr. President later with like a slide deck, and they're like, all right, sir, so here's the deal. We're going to give them, you know, Newfoundland and Detroit and New York and California. Then also, like, they get $24 billion. They, like, get sanctions relief immediately. They get to run a regional axis, like, everything they wanted. And they get a missile program. And, like, all of the things that we went in there to do are off the table. And you basically have capitulated on your birthday and, like, taken a bow and said, thank you, Iran. May I have another? What did he say? Like, okay, you know, I've had enough? Or was he like, wait, what? Or did Mr. President say, like, wait a minute, that's not what Pakistan told me. The general told me that I was getting half of Iran. I was going to get a water park. They were going to build a hotel in my name. This is all right. I believe they keep getting me. I really believe, when I was on my walk earlier, I believed that this was real. What is this? First of all, there's no way that we're signing this. I'm sorry. I personally think you probably could give them some of this stuff, but this is a little much even for me. And I'm pretty, you know, amiable to an off-ramp here, all right? Mr. President did not agree to this. He did not. Why would he ever agree to this? He'll be humiliated. Why would he agree to this on his birthday? It's surrender terms. That's it. That's it. Something's not right. Oh my goodness, this has got to stop happening. Setting aside my sardonic mockery of this ridiculous Kafka novel, this has got to stop happening. It's tormenting people. People take what these sides say legitimately, like civilians, and then they go back to their homes, and then, like, the bombs drop. So we got to stop this. This is absurd. This is exactly to the letter. In fact, this is more favorable to Tehran. This is exactly to the letter what the last thing that they said they all agreed on was, which they did not. They wouldn't even talk in Pakistan. They talked for like 24 hours and were like, yeah, we're not making any progress. We're leaving. Talmud Bunny. Oh, goodness. I'm mad. I'm really mad. I gotta compose myself. I'm so mad. Let's let Trey finish his report from earlier. This was earlier today.
Being directed, in your opinion, by Tehran.
The answer to both of your questions is yes. The Israelis have come under a variety of both rocket and drone attacks into the northern part of their country. Tens of thousands of Israelis have been displaced from their homes since Hezbollah got directly involved in this conflict. And they've been firing not on military targets, but on civilians. Now, Israeli forces remain in southern Lebanon. And there's a parallel effort going on here by the Trump administration, led by President Trump and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, to create a normalization agreement between Israel and Lebanon, because they have a common goal here to disarm Hezbollah, because Hezbollah is Iran's largest proxy in the region. And the Iranians have been trying to tie the situation in Lebanon to this broader agreement with the United States that, again, is expected to be signed in a matter of hours. And so there's a lot of things on the table right now, but when we step back and look at what is taking place at this very moment, the Israelis say they are preparing for the possibility of incoming Iranian missile fire. And we should look just to last week. 1 week ago, the Iranians launched 30 ballistic missiles at Israel in response to a similar strike against the Dahya neighborhood of southern Beirut. And there was an exchange of fire at that moment. And then ultimately, President Trump took to Truth Social and he called on both sides to stop shooting. And again, this is an indication that the president has the ability to get directly involved here, to pause what's happening in the region in order to let these diplomatic efforts play out. And that's exactly what is taking place tonight. Kevin, President Trump tells me he was getting on the phone just moments after we spoke to ask the Iranians not to fire in response at Israel and ultimately allow this agreement to be electronically signed to enter into these deeper negotiations as it relates to Iran's nuclear program. Remember, we're looking at two separate issues here, but they are connected. One has to do with the Strait of Hormuz, and we understand once this agreement is signed, the strait will be opened, the blockade on Iranian ports will be lifted, and that's going to address the international transit issue in the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman. And then you have the issue of Iran's nuclear program. A lot of that, as the president calls nuclear dust, the highly enriched uranium, was buried deep underground in the aftermath of Operation Midnight Hammer that actually took place a year ago to this week, last summer. And that was an effort by those B-2 bombers to destroy Iranian nuclear facilities. But when that happened, it buried that highly enriched uranium deep underground. And so there will be efforts to eventually remove and destroy that highly enriched uranium, but there are only two countries that can do it, according to President Trump. That's the United States, and that's China. I do want to just quickly go back to the Strait of Hormuz, because the president gave Fox News some other interesting information. Over the past month and a half, there were questions about how the oil markets were stabilized, despite the fact that there was an exchange of fire often taking place in the Persian Gulf. And there was this secret mission going on that President Trump ordered to get vessels that had millions of barrels of crude oil on board from these Gulf countries out through the Strait of Hormuz. And President Trump tells Fox News an average of 22 ships per night were taken out during that U.S. operation. And it gives you a sense of what was going on behind the scenes. There was a lot of speculation in the media about what was going to take place, and a lot of comments from Iranian leadership about what it actually looked like in the Strait of Hormuz. But while those Iranian officials were talking, the U.S. Navy was escorting all of these vessels out of the Gulf and ensuring that those oil prices were stabilized. Kevin?
Of course, Trey, we'll bring you back as you get more information on what could be a momentous afternoon here, not just for the country, but for the entire globe. Trey Yingst, as always. Thank you, my friend.
All right. That was the report as this was unfolding. All right. Let me show you a little bit more footage, by the way, from Hezbollah. This was a drone that was fired in the south of Lebanon on June 2nd, but just released today. I'm going to take you through everything that happened today. We're playing Deal or No Deal, apparently. I don't know where I am right now. That was the latest from Hezbollah in southern Lebanon. That was earlier today. It was from earlier in the month, but released earlier today. Iran's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, for their part, put out this statement in Persian. I translated it for you into English. Statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs regarding the continuation of Israel's regime's crimes in the attack on Dahieh, Beirut. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Iran strongly condemns the terroristic act of the Israeli regime in attacking residential areas in Dahieh, suburb of Beirut, which resulted in the martyrdom and wounding of a number of Lebanese citizens. The terrorist crime is not only a blatant violation of Lebanon's national sovereignty and territorial integrity, but also a flagrant breach of the ceasefire dated 19 Favadin 1405, which was corresponding probably to like April, 10th or 12th, 2026, between Iran and the U.S. The Islamic Republic of Iran, while recalling the direct responsibility of the U.S. government for the crimes committed by the Israeli regime and its repeated violations of the ceasefire against Lebanon or Iran, emphasizes its firm resolve to take all necessary measures to exercise its inherent right to legitimate self-defense. If it is evident that the U.S. and the Israeli regime will bear responsibility for the dangerous consequences of escalating regional tensions for peace and security in the region. So that was right before this whole deal went down. So you can see the sides building. You can see the tension. The Iranians were literally saying, one of the advisors to the supreme leader, his name is Akbar Valayadi, the miscalculation in Beirut ended patience, and the order was given. Zero hour has arrived. This was 4 hours ago. And the launchers are ready. Hezbollah is a fragment of the axis of resistance. If the fire of mischief in Lebanon is not extinguished, the two powerful arms of geography, Hormuz and Bab al-Mandab, the Straits, will squeeze your economic arteries to the point of strategic suffocation. New UFC start time is 9 p.m. due to a weather delay. Alright, so Israeli airstrikes continued, even as this peace deal was about to be announced. In Tehran earlier, as news of the peace deal had not yet broken, these were the scenes. It's the song! You can tell that song, by the way, I know the lyrics, that is a song they play when they're literally saying strike, when they're pushing for strikes. Like the strike with a missile. It's like strike, like sons of something, like strike hard, and then it's like, you are the lion and you'll slay the big elephant. Alright, we can listen to it. So just so you understand, before this whole deal was signed, that was about 3 hours ago in Tehran. Let me just show you a translation. We all like the song. Alright, everybody likes the song. We listen to the song a lot. I want to tell you, they clearly listen to the song. Hello, I'm back. We are watching our song. Here we go. If you're wondering what that song means, I actually have a reason to play this with the translations now. Just so you understand what they were saying in Tehran, this is what that song means translated.
فصل آخر است که آغاز میکنیم این بار همه نام حق اجاز میکنیم
دریا گواه ماست که فرعون نماندنیست داریم سوی معرکه پرواز میکنیم داریم سوی معرکه پرواز میکنیم درست دم دمدنی درست دم تهمتنی این تو شیر پیل افکنی تو شیر پیل افکنی بزن که خوب میزنی نترس از این که دارد روبرویت ناو می آید که دارد سوی یک شیر گرسنه گاو می آید تو رستم تهمتنی تو رستم تهمتنی تو شیر پیل افکنی تو شیر پیل افکنی به فرق کاخ و تختشان به زندگی نحزشان به قلب دشمن دنی بزن که خوب میزنی نمیبینی به ایران باز هم طاغوت برگردد نمیبینی به ایران باز هم طاغوت برگردد تجاوز کار میبایست با تابوت برگردد تو رستم تهمتنی تو شیر پیل افکنی از این نبرد خسته شد ابهتش شکسته شد طلسم دیو بشکنی بزن که خوب میزنی اگرچه داغ فرزندانمان جان و جان سوز است ولی تاریخ میگوید که خون بر تیغ پیروز است بگو با زورگویان استقامت میکند ایران ببین در معرکه اینک قیامت میکند ایران تو رستم.
Oh yeah, I think they're playing this at the White House right now. Clearly. Star Child, I love your humor. Yeah, legit. Okay, so I need to make a prediction. This is not a towel early alert. I would say if it was, this is not. People take that very seriously. I actually learned there are some people who, when they think a missile is going to come towards their area, will expect to hear it here before an alert goes off sometimes. So I'm not saying it's a towel early alert. Something's just off. Okay, like if it's Mr. President's birthday. He is like 80 or 81. He has like a giant, like weird gladiator thing about to happen. He was fighting with the Weather Channel today about this event because of the thunderstorms that have delayed it. The American administration is not poised to react to anything right now. And this deal is fake. It was just designed so Iran wouldn't strike Israel over the Beirut thing. And this is what the IRGC is playing in Tehran. All this noise about the IRGC being divided over the deal. No, I think they're divided over the framing of the deal. But I think they think Israel will violate the terms right away and they're ready to go. And I think what Iran's trying to accomplish is the right to strike Israel without the U.S. intervening. Because to understand, I think a lot of you figured this out. Iran doesn't love American bases in the region. But if they can pacify the U.S., do you know what Iran really wants? To exact revenge for hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinians and hundreds of thousands of displaced Lebanese and tens of thousands of dead Lebanese people. and they want to extract revenge on Israel, and their only, I think, concern is that the U.S. is going to intervene. So I think Iran's setting a trap for Israel so that Bibi will bomb, and Mr. President, you can see the divide in the relationship between Bibi and Mr. President. I think Iran wants license to bomb Israel without America intervening. That's my read of it. Because you got to understand what's happening. Israel thinks they're baiting Iran into responding so that the ceasefire or peace deal will collapse. I think Iran's playing it the other way. They want to bait Israel into attacking Lebanon so that Mr. President Trump, they've profiled Mr. President. They know he loves Lebanon. He has a family member from Lebanon. They want to bait Bibi and Trump, Mr. President, into falling out over Lebanon so that Bibi will attack Lebanon, thinking he's going to get Iran to attack Israel to break up the ceasefire, but really Iran and the U.S. back-channeled it, so Iran had permission to strike Israel because Mr. President Trump was mad at Bibi. And that's how you do diplomacy. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong about this. That's a very intense read of it, but that's my opinion. This is like a 5-minute song. I'm not in favor of the words per se, but I think the beat is good. Happy 10th birthday, Francine's washcloth. You're wonderful, Francine.
کسی مانند ما با مثل او بیعت نخواهد کرد.
I like it because it gives an insight into Iranian psychosocial psychology, like mass psychology of mind. I'm very interested in like a benevolent form of what Bernays was doing. I don't manipulate people, but I study how mass psychology of mind influences symbiotically political, cultural, corporate, historical developments. I like Max Weber a lot. Weber, W-E-B-E-R. I like applied sociology, but through the lens of critical theory and cultural anthropology. I like to develop a philosophy of history, so I have to know everything about every civilization. I like to study. So I started by doing something called reconstructive hermeneutics, where when you're reading Decisions, you get inside the mind of the author. Hermes, the messenger god, you know what I'm saying? So you want to reconstruct not what they're saying, but what was in their head when they were writing, or like whatever they were doing, printing it. When they were coming up with the idea, the humor exists in the space between what someone says and what they mean. Reconstructive hermeneutics is the art of finding the space between what someone was thinking and what they wrote down. And that's even more difficult because writing, you can really, like, if you know what you're doing, you can really mask what you're thinking when you're writing. But anyway, so I started there, and that's a fun discipline. That's why I like to memorize the presidents, because what I really want to, it has a point. I want to memorize the Supreme Court justices they appointed, so I can read a slip opinion from the Supreme Court of the U.S. and instantly understand the political constellation of when the judge was appointed, like nominated by the president, confirmed by the Senate, and then also how like the political, cultural, social, whatever environment developed over their time in office. Then I got to be able to pinpoint the year of the opinion and be like, okay, that's what they were thinking about. It's not just what they're writing, like what were they thinking about? What was the like snapshot of what was their frame of reference historically and culturally and socially and intellectually? You have to understand it all. That's fun, but it gets boring when you're constantly studying individual minds. Like, I can do that very quickly. I don't need to spend a substantial amount of time learning like what Justice Cardozo was thinking when he wrote Palsgraf, or what the like Four Horsemen of Reaction were thinking about when West Coast Hotel v. Parrish came down in 37, or like why Lochner was decided the way it was, whatever. I just understand. It gets boring because you're like, all right, you're boring me, bro. Like, you're just interested in money. Like, go away. It's not stimulating. It's not a challenge. It's boring. And it's not pure legal realism to say that Habermas's critique of legal rationality has a lot of legitimacy, because a lot of late 18th century, like early 20th century, late 1800s, early 1900s, American jurisprudence was viciously ends justify the means. Like Plessy v. Ferguson, the Santa Clara County v. Southern Union Pacific, Lochner, the slaughterhouse cases. Like, they're just like ridiculous usurpations of the juridical process to subvert human rights for the purposes of mechanistic post-industrial corporate consolidation. So anyway, I got bored. Like, you can only study individual minds is so much, and then I wanted to do applied like sociology, so I could take the insights from that form of study and apply it to societies on the whole, both current and former. So it's a lot of work, though. That's all. Like, you're talking like 195 to 197 countries that exist now, and then you're talking like you got to go back before countries were around. You got to understand how every society like emerged onto the historical scene, and then how they emerged into like tribes or states or city-states, and then you got to understand who conquered who and when, and who emerged and re-emerged, and then you can put it all together. But that's my goal. I want to do a comprehensive philosophy of history that covers all of human civilization. Yeah, applied epistemology. I like that.
شبیه چارپا در باطلاق مرگ وامانده ببین بر روی نهضش سیلی ایران به جا مانده بزن که خوب میزنی بزن که خوب میزنی قریب شادی جهان این رسیده تا به آسمان تو آن امید روشنی بزن که خوب میزنی تو رستم تهمتنی تو شیر پیل افکنی.
I don't mean to jump in again, but Silent Dogs, the way I think I would translate it to like a sentence is, I like to understand how societies think. If you want to understand how I like to think, not in content, but in form, I would recommend two books, both by a great author named Robert Putnam. All right, Putnam. The first book is called Making Democracy Work, Civic Traditions in Modern Italy. Bro, that's a great book. Listen, you ever want to learn about the juxtaposition between the industrial north and the communal south in Italy, and why that makes for a fascinating study in constitutional reformation? Oh goodness, you got to read that. And then the Lateran Treaty with Rome and how that plays in from 23. It's great. Oh, it's a great book. But that's a great book for a number of reasons, because of the way it does its applied sociology and like political theory. Like, that's how I think. Like, how he writes that book is how I think. I don't want to be involved in your political decisions per se. There are a few things that I'm involved in because I feel like it's a matter of like integrity of the constitutional system. That's the only time you'll find me involved in anything. But what I want to understand is like how societies think about the decisions that they're making. And so Robert Putnam does a great job of that in Making Democracy Work, Civic Traditions in Modern Italy. It's a great framework for understanding how societies think. His other really good book, which focuses on the United States, is called Bowling Alone. It took the world, like the academic world, by storm. Right around when Fukuyama was writing End of History and Huntington was writing Clash of Civilizations. So it's kind of like a segmented, like a very specific corner of political theory to be doing like applied political sociology. But anyway, it's like it's kind of the like apex. It kind of takes like what Hegel was doing and what Kant was doing and what Weber was doing, and it like brings them all together. And then most of it is through the lens of critical theory, so like Dialectic of the Enlightenment by Adorno and Horkheimer, and you kind of like fold in Hegel's philosophy of history and Weber's applied cultural sociology, and then you take Kant's like insights about like morality, metaphysical morality, and you kind of thread them back through the needle of like cultural interpretation, which ends up being like a critique of how mass cultural like propaganda alienates like individual people from the lawmaking process. So it's a very tight circle, and it's a great way to understand like what modern communication is. Habermas, you got to also read A Theory of Communicative Action by Habermas, and then you probably should read Between Facts and Norms as well by Habermas. And then with all of that like together, you have a very solid footing to analyze modern like cultural discourse in any context. Anyway, my name is Grant Smith Ellis, and that was your lecture on critical theory in the middle of an Iranian war song video. I'm sure the IRGC is pleased. Ali Laranjani wrote an entire commentary on Descartes. I don't know a lot about Descartes. Something about like Aristotle's math and cows and sacred geometry and numbers. I don't think that way. It's great. I'm glad people study it. I don't really understand that. I don't think in numbers. I think in very, very long stretches of time and specific facts and names and dates and concepts and people and like cultural trends and what lay beneath. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't do numbers at all. What the hell? It makes no sense to me. I just don't get it. I don't understand. I just don't get it. Oh goodness, you should have seen me in calculus. I was like, what the hell is this? What the hell? Like, I understand a parabola, and I understand like an asymptote and like an axis, but why the hell do I gotta learn about like the reverse relationship between the sides of a triangle? Like, I'm sure people need to know that, but I don't. Anyway, so yeah, my brain just is a little different, I suppose. That was your mental decompression break. It was also a very, so TA Sarah should have really been here. That's definitely going to be on the final. You know, you have to understand all of that. Silent Dog says, "Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes or thorns or figs or of thistle?" He doesn't mention maths much in the meditations. Yeah, that might be right, Mercury Star. I don't know why. I think I associate him with that. Oh, it's Cartesian duality, isn't it, actually? I don't know why I associate Descartes with math. Maybe because I think I had a professor who she wrote a really good dissertation. I went to the defense. She was cool. She was really cool. I don't know where she teaches now. Anyway, I have a lot of friends. So she wrote her dissertation on Aristotle. And I remember, I think there was a section of it that had to do with like Cartesian planes or something along those lines. It had to do with like studying like cows. I forget. It was math related to like the body of cows, something to do with Aristotle and cows and Descartes. I don't remember. I was frankly baffled by the whole experience. Anyway, so that was our mental decompression break. Now I have to take you back to what's going on. So here's what's been going on in Lebanon over the past 12 hours. And we haven't had any bombings. This is pleasant in the past hour. This is good. This is a good thing. We kind of had a little runaway train. I don't think we have a resolution to any of this. All right, and you can see like how rapidly the headlines were evolving today. It wasn't just you. It was a roller coaster. It went from deal signed to bombing Beirut to deal signed. And that's exactly why I wanted to show you it. Alright, now as this deal was about to be signed, this is what was going on in Lebanon. Germany, Italy, France, and the UK all say they're ready to lift sanctions on Iran. We might actually be there. Wow, we might actually have a deal. As long as we can get through the top of the hour. There is extensive damage in southern Lebanon, but we may... I was really worried they were going to bomb during that last hour, and they didn't. So that was when the deal was announced. It was first announced by Pakistan, just to wrap you up here. It was first... Hello! If you're just tuning in, it's good to see you, Frank. If you're just tuning in, things went absolutely haywire. I took you through it all. I now have brought you back to where we started, which was the announcement, which was this was supposed to be 2 hours of me telling you that they had finally reached a deal. I don't know if we're there. I don't think a lot of you feel we're there. The poll has you all at, what does it say? I asked, do you believe that peace is at hand? 40% of you said no, save the goats. 35% of you said I have no idea what's going on. 18% of you said yes, the goats are saved. And 9% of you said maybe, I like the goats too. Mimi says I know God will win in the end. God bless you, Mimi. That's the kind of energy I needed. I tend to feel there is not a deal. I tend to feel this is BS, and we're going to wake up to news of bombings throughout Lebanon and North Israel. But I have the ability to actively monitor. So I would be able to tell you if there was active fighting. That would be me telling you something's very, very wrong. As of now, it seems to be just artillery shelling, Jess. But I can't sit here and tell you that it's over, because what the MOU that the Iranian news is reporting says is complete capitulation. And no change from where we were 60 days ago. Or 62 days ago, whatever it was. Mercury Star, his trial was delayed last week, so I imagine it will start again this week. It's been going on since 2023. He's testifying it now. To give you something pleasant, these are the scenes in Boston right now, where the Scottish fans have taken over Fenway Park for a baseball game.
There's just a few Scots here today in Boston. Just a few. The march is on to Fenway Park.
Oh my, remember how I told you that, like, it feels like the entire country of Scotland just came to Massachusetts? I'm not kidding you when I say there's no World Cup game for Scotland today. They just wanted to go to a baseball game. I think they wanted to kind of upset the Irish, because it's Irish Cultural Day at Fenway. So, like, 20,000 of them, the Scottish, went to Fenway. It's different in American sports. We don't, like, gather up together as a group, like maybe like your family or like your friends, but you don't, like, march to the stadium as a group of like 20,000. We just don't do that. Maybe the Royal Rooters might have done that back in the day for the Red Sox with like 500 people. They would have like a drum and they would march. But you are talking about something that does not exist in the United States, especially in the city of Boston. This was like 2 hours ago. So there's like 10,000 Scottish people just marching because they all, I don't know how this many people communicate. They must have a WhatsApp group or something. They all met up and they basically decided to like make a demonstration. They're like really good at what they do. And they marched to Fenway led by bagpipers. You don't understand. Oh my God! It's like an army! They're marching. They're going to a baseball game. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Boston, listen, I can definitively say, having lived in Boston for almost 4 decades, that Boston has never seen an entire army of marching Scotsmen parading to Fenway for a baseball game. This is the greatest thing of that crowd goes for, I can't even put into, that's bigger than our protests. When people get really mad and want to like go protest things, that's like 50 times bigger than the biggest protest we have. Silent Dogs. Listen, you gotta, whether you love bagpipes, I think they're great. Whether you hate them, you gotta remove the bagpipes. That's not the core of this equation. That is like an area of Boston called Fenway. It's like this area, it was designed by Frank Law Olmsted, I think. It's called the Emerald Necklace. It's a very beautiful area, but it's like hoity-toity. Like, it's very expensive to live there, and it's like right in the, Boston is not big. We had to like expand the city with landfill. It used to be like a peninsula with like one exit that was literally like maybe 20 yards across. I forget what that was called. Neck or something. It's where like one of the Paul Revere guys tried to break out through and got caught. But anyway, no, he actually got through by bribing them, or he gave up or something at that gate. I don't know. So anyway, but Long Neck or something. But the point is, this is over like on the other side of the Back Bay. So Boston has like a port. It's kind of like a semicircle. And then when you come inland, there's landfill that creates something called the Back Bay. And then when you go further, kind of east of that, you like get to the very edge of the city. Not really, but you're getting to the edge of Boston there. You could go out to Allston, Brighton, but that's just an experience. The point is, when you like get there, you're kind of in this like very wealthy, like very rich. It's actually where Daryl Nitke lived before they did the heist at the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, because Adnan Khashoggi stole my damn paintings to get out of jail when he was arrested with the Philippines former First Lady Isabella Stewart Marcos when they stole $160 million of unrelated paintings. Khashoggi got extradited in 1990 in around May or so, maybe a little earlier, to New York from Switzerland. When he got extradited, 2 days later, the guy who lived in this area, Daryl Nitke, who was part of Khashoggi's crew, robbed the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, but then Khashoggi got found not guilty at a trial like in July of 1990, so they didn't need the paintings for leverage to get a lower sentence, which was an idea they got from a guy named Miles Connor in 1975 who stole a Rembrandt and somehow used it as leverage to get a reduction in his federal sentence from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Boston. Hashtag, give me my paintings, as Tripoli Bob rightfully points out. All right, so anyway, this is that area. It's a very wealthy area. There's like hospitals, like all the big hospitals. BIDMC is down there, and then Children's, and then Harvard Medical School, and then the baseball field, and then like multi-million-dollar apartments everywhere. There's no homes. It's just apartments and like giant skyscraper apartments. That's where like the Four Seasons is. One Dalton is like right there. So I don't know if I can explain this. Never in any of the humans' lives that live in that area have they ever seen anything like this. Maybe on the like when the Red Sox win like the World Series or the Pats win the Super Bowl, you might have what's called we say like break out the duck boats. You might have a duck boat parade, but they don't really do that in the Emerald Necklace. Like that's like this like, I must explain this to you. That's like a organized event down by Boston Common where like they go on a parade route that is specifically designed for lots of people. This is a crowd of like 10,000 people marching through like a very wealthy residential neighborhood with no cops, and they're playing the bagpipes and just marching to the baseball stadium. If we had this, Boston would be so much fun. You must understand this does not exist. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. Now, a lot of people in Britain will be like, but bro, like, have you never been to a soccer game or a rugby match, like, or a football match? Like, yes, I have. I know what that is like. I understand you might, like, get used to that, especially if you live in, like, the capital, like London or Manchester or anywhere where it's, like, really, really intense. I get it. Or even like in Ireland, like some of the sports in Ireland, you like hurling, like they get more intense than like our national sports, their fandoms. With this, I don't know if I can process the fact that 10,000 Scottish people marched through the Emerald Necklace to get to Fenway for a baseball game. I've seen a lot of things in my life. This one, like in a good way, as a like nice, pleasant thing, tops it. The Scottish are the greatest thing I've ever seen. I don't even understand how they've done. They have taken Boston by storm. I'm a little worried, like if they wanted to, they could conquer us. Like, we're not that organized. We're not ready to come back. How? It's like Braveheart. How are we supposed to stop them? If they wanted to take over, they could just take over. Oh God. I don't know. Now I get it. I totally get it. I totally understand the movie Braveheart now. When the Scottish people, they're very pleasant, all right? You don't want to make them angry, though, because they will gather up into groups of 10,000 and march on you. Look at that! That is more people than I've ever seen. For the life of me, I will live another, I don't know, hopefully 60 years, 40 to 60. Never again, unless there's like a repeat of this because all the teams that come here decide that they want to storm Fenway to make a point. John Henry's going to be so freaking confused. Anyway, the point is, I will live a long time. I will never see this again. Greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, thank you so much, Two Bear. That was a great celebration. But yes, I've never seen anything like it. I never will again. We don't do that. I wish we did, but nobody really cares. People go see baseball games, but it's like a very hoity-toity thing. It really is. There's some people, the working class does go to Fenway, especially out in the bleachers. Okay? They go. But go, friendly Fenway. Okay, it's like a corporate experience. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It reflects, I don't know John Henry, but I read a lot of what his newspaper publishes, and I followed him forever since he bought the Red Sox, and it reflects his personality. It's very you gotta have a suit on if you want to walk around certain parts of that ballpark. Which, okay, fine, but you're kind of sucking the life out of a club that kind of built itself on 25-cent bleacher tickets and $1 beer. You really are. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to my Red Sox. I used to go in the 90s, before John Henry owned the Red Sox. I remember what it was like when Brian Daubach and Troy O'Leary and such played for the Red Sox, and Nomar, and Pedro. Then we got really good. Anyway, my point is, I've never seen it. I've been around forever. I can prove it too. Let me actually break this out. Hold on. No, I don't want to actually touch the tickets too much, but I have tickets from the 90s from Fenway. I have tickets from the early 2000s. I have tickets from 2004 when they won the World Series for the first time since 1918. I've never seen anything like that in my life. Maybe during the World Series, but it still wouldn't be that organized. It would more be like everybody arrives through different arteries to the park, and then it's crowded. You don't march to the park. It's great. I love it. First 48 is our UFC reporter. They let us know that one of the fighters has a sweet mullet. This is how the Iranian state TV reported it. The Islamic Republic of Iran has officially forced the American Zionist enemy to end the war on all fronts. Okay. Charleston Neck. That sounds about right, in Limonene, so good to see you. Alright, let me update you. I can't, we're at the top of the hour. If nothing happens now, we might make it through the night. Let me show you the scene in Lebanon, where people are celebrating this. They think it's over. Lebanon's having a night. If there's anything I've learned about the Lebanese people, they are eminently resilient and hopeful. They they'll rebuild. They are ready to they're just so optimistic and just so hopeful and very resilient. You can't stop the Lebanese people. Like, they just give them good news and they're ready to have a dance party in the street. Let's do it. Mind you, these people have been displaced. There is, as much as the jubilation is important to highlight, these people have been displaced from their homes for months. Millions of people, and our goats in Lebanon, displaced for months. And they deserve to be able to go home. Let me give you a quick clip from Al Jazeera about what this whole situation is, like within the past hour.
What sort of deal do we have right now?
Well, there's no deal. There's a memorandum of understanding to talk about a deal. There's an extension of the ceasefire. It's clear that the chain of events that started with Israel attacking southern Beirut led to some sort of reaction by Iran. President Trump probably assumed that he had to do something. Iranian press is reporting that he had to add some sweeteners to get Iran not to walk away from an imminent announcement. So we don't know what's going to be in the deal. According to the Iranian deputy foreign minister, the text of the deal will not be released publicly until the signing ceremony Friday. But here's the basic exchange. Iran opens up the Strait of Hormuz, parentheses, under Iranian management in some form, in exchange for a lifting of the naval blockade. And then some sort of money thrown at Iran, whether it's unblocked assets or money from some of the GCC countries. So all we know is that the memorandum of understanding has been approved and that there's going to be some backfilling in the next few days to bring it up to date with what was decided verbally the last hour or so. The U.S. has won militarily. That was easy. But what is clear, as you just said, is that the United States has been spectacularly unable.
The U.S. has won militarily? What did we win?
To translate its military dominance into strategic success. Now,
okay. Bombing things is not winning. You can't bomb things and be like, look how good we are at bombing things. We won. Who? That is not... Has this man not read von Clausewitz? Or Sun Tzu? That's a little more rudimentary. Or Fog of War? I guess that's a documentary, but it is a book. I read it as a book. Maybe it was like a book about the documentary, but it was a good book. The point is, I don't really know what this man is saying. What did we win?
Iran's economy has been decimated, and it's going to face a very bleak economic situation when this is all over. But yes, in a very real sense, Iran has strategically won this war.
Well, all right, he kind of salvaged it there at the end, but he prefaced that very, very heavily. All right, here's a complete overview of apparently what's going to go down with this deal. We're also going to give them the Statue of Liberty.
Conversation. Here are the complete details by phase of the Iran-United States Memorandum of Understanding. Phase 1. After the announcement of the MOU, immediate effect. After the announcement of the MOU, both parties declare an immediate, complete, and permanent end to all hostilities in the region, including in Lebanon. After the announcement of the MOU, the United States declares the immediate and complete lifting of the American naval blockade against Iran. Phase 2. After the signing of the MOU, 30-day period. After the signing of the MOU...
Pause. Israel has just struck... This was earlier today. Israel struck earlier today in Sur and killed 2 people. While this was all unfolding. I didn't know the casualty figure until now. I'll have footage in a second.
After the signing of the MOU, the United States confirms its commitment not to interfere in Iran's internal affairs and to respect the sovereignty of the Islamic Republic of Iran. After the signing of the MOU, the United States affirms that it will not increase the number of troops or military assets present.
Keith, thank you. I saw there was a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz with the call sign or name under attack. I don't know if that was spoofed or what was going on. That was a little odd. But Keith, it's so good to see you. Thank you for the update.
After the signing of the MOU, the United States affirms that it will not increase the number of troops or military assets present in the region, nor impose new sanctions during the negotiations. After the signing of the MOU, Iran reaffirms its commitment to the Treaty on the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons, NPT, and confirms that it will never produce, develop, or acquire a nuclear weapon. After the signing of the MOU, the United States declares that it will provide Iran with half of its frozen funds, valued at $12 billion, which will be made irreversibly available within 30 days, with a commitment to make the other half available over the following 60 days. After the signing of the MOU, the United States will issue sanctions waivers for Iranian exports of oil, gas, and petrochemical products, effective immediately, and commit to extending these waivers permanently once a final agreement is concluded. After the signing of the MOU, the United States will begin immediate consultations with Israel to present a short-term timeline for Israel's complete withdrawal from Lebanon, including the points occupied following the 2024 Israel-Hezbollah agreement. After the signing of the MOU, Iran confirms that it will reopen the Strait of Hormuz to commercial maritime traffic, according to certain specified provisions determined by Iran, within 30 days. Phase 3. Negotiations on a final agreement, 60-day period plus possible extension. The 60-day negotiation period will begin once all terms of the MOU have been fulfilled during the previous 30 days. The 60-day negotiation period may be extended by mutual agreement of both parties. During these 60 days, the United States will make available the remaining $12 billion of frozen Iranian assets. During these 60 days, the United States will present plans for a reconstruction fund for Iran, valued at least $300 billion, financed in part by Gulf states. The United States and Iran will initiate detailed discussions on a permanent solution to nuclear-related issues, including enrichment, the existing uranium stockpile, and the fate of nuclear sites. The United States and Iran will initiate detailed discussions regarding the lifting of all economic sanctions against Iran, including primary, secondary, American, and UN sanctions, as well as the withdrawal of all UN Security Council resolutions and IAEA Board of Governors resolutions against Iran. A monitoring mechanism will be established to oversee the implementation of a final agreement. The final agreement will be approved by a UN Security Council resolution.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. I don't really know what to tell you. If that's what, that seems pretty detailed. If that's what it is, then how did that get agreed to without Israel's consent? I'm not really sure. Give me 1 second. Frame drop. Let me take you to Kiev now, where a 1,000-year-old monastery was hit by missiles from Russia. This is Ukraine. I mean, how do you bomb a monastery? You gotta be really messed up in the head. This may be akin to the bombing of St. Paul's. I mean, this is very bad. Alright, I think I have some insight from the Vice President as to how this all happened. I'm going to show you Gurnon 2 strike on Kiev now as well. This is terrifying. Putin has gone overboard. Putin lost his mind tonight. I also understand he has burned down the historic cinema in Ukraine that I will show you in 1 second. he burned down. So he hit a monastery, and then he burned down the Donetsk National Film Studio. I mean, he's just lost it. He's burning down cultural landmarks that's been around for 1,000 years. He's turned into like a madman, a true madman. There are leaders in history that destroy cultural landmarks, but they're like the worst of the worst. They go down as like very bad. When you start when you bomb a monastery that's 1,000 years old and on the UNESCO World Heritage List site, it is like bombing St. Paul's. It's like a serious escalation, and you have to be like insane to do it. And then they bombed the oldest, like a protected old film studio too. You have to be really out of your mind to bomb that kind of stuff. You have to literally want, like, not just the current government, but history to suffer. That's why they say it's like the ultimate act of a madman to bomb like 1,000-year-old cultural site. So this could lead. Hello, Miss Kesha. It's so good to see you. This could lead to pretty serious, not the film studio, although that's disgusting that was bombed, but the attack on that monastery, it was direct, it was on purpose. That could lead to serious response from the European Union and other countries. You really can't be doing that stuff. It escalates a war to like, it's beyond even kind of ethnic cleansing when you do that. When you bomb cultural landmarks that are over 1,000 years old, you're getting into end of the apparatus that you're running. You're at the very end of the line, and you're just mad. It's real, like it's like a lashing out. There's like such things as called like the death throes of empire. And bombing cultural sites is normally a sign you've lost it. Like, you're pretty much at the end. There's nowhere to go from there. Well, there's one more place we won't talk about, but that is not going to happen.
The Israelis struck Beirut.
Here's a report regarding what happened today. I think we have our answer now.
The Israelis struck Beirut, we were very worried, and we saw a lot of evidence that the Iranians were going to launch a large number of missiles at the...
This is the vice president himself speaking on Fox like an hour ago.
The Israelis struck Beirut, we were very worried, and we saw a lot of evidence that the Iranians were going to launch a large number of missiles at the Israelis. With our communication with them over the course of getting to this signed peace deal, they assured us that they were not going to respond to the Israelis, and they were going to sign this agreement and get to peace.
Yeah, Lucas, we were so happy to be joined by the vice president on such a momentous day. We've all been waiting for it. You know, again,
The Israelis struck Beirut.
All right, so we don't even need to listen to a report. This is the vice president speaking to Fox like an hour ago. He basically confirmed that whatever Iran said they were going to do, this machination today was just to stop that attack. Like, we must have given them cash. They must have been ready to really hit.
Struck Beirut, we were very worried, and we saw a lot of evidence that the Iranians were going to launch a large number of missiles at the Israelis. With our communication with them over the course of getting to this signed peace deal, they assured us that they were not going to respond to the Israelis, and they were going to sign this agreement and get to peace.
We bribed them. Oh my. Bibi's play backfired. That's incredible. Their plan wasn't to attack Israel and not ask the U.S. not to intervene. Their plan was to use it as leverage to get a better deal. Oh, they outclassed Bibi by a lot. What a masterclass in chess. Oh, that's glorious. Remember, I'm a proponent of peace. So whatever gets us to peace. We're certainly not seeing peace in Ukraine. I'll show you some more footage before we go. But Wow, that's a glorious ending move. That's a coup de grace. That's the coup de grace right there. They made us cower, and the Israelis, the U.S. was. Do you realize most of the interceptors that went up to protect Israel came from the U.S.? Our ships in the water off Israel. Those were our missiles, 200 of them or so. They used about 100. Israel used about 100 interceptors. We used about 200. The guns of war have fallen silent. That's a genius. I'm not going to guarantee this is going to hold. I'm jaded. I was reading Ali Hashem's commentary earlier. He was like, I hope it holds. I feel the same way. I'm just jaded by covering this region for even like 4 years, 3 years. It jades you. You don't believe anything. You hope for the best, prepare for the worst. But anyway, that if this is how that ends, because eventually you got to analyze how it ends, if it does end, that's a genius move. People are so scared of your missiles, they back down immediately when you threaten them, and then you get your peace deal. And then you, in essence, it's called a security guarantee. So in essence, you get the U.S. to guarantee that Israel won't bomb Lebanon, and you force them to hold them to it. Yeah, we got to get to Friday. Nothing is in stone. I'm very jaded. I hope for the best. I like peace. Mimi will tell you. No matter what point we were at in this war, my persistent and consistent theme was whatever gets us to peace. There were points where I was like, whatever, even if it takes one side being stronger than the other side in ways I didn't anticipate, which is exactly what happened, if that gets us to peace, then I'm pleased. I'm sure a lot of you remember how bad it was. None of us who weren't under the bombs will ever understand. But that was really bad. On a scale that the world, I don't think, had seen before, other than the people in Ukraine and Russia. The civilians in particular. May God protect them. Especially tonight. But that was really bad. It got really, really, really bad. And there was a point where I didn't think peace was possible, because these sides don't speak literally they don't speak the same language, but philosophically, intellectually, sociologically, anthropomorphically, they don't communicate on the same level. They never will. Not this administration in the U.S. It was only because the Iranians treated Mr. President like a psych patient. I'm serious. And as soon as they started treating him like a patient that they had to make progress with, they got it. They got what they wanted. But they at the beginning, it was like watching someone who had lived underground their entire life, raised by no one, just underground alone, trying to communicate with a very obscure language spoken on earth, like someone from that country, like Uzbekistan. All right, that's what it was like. Literally, they could have been trying to explain what the sky looks like, and they wouldn't have understood each other. I mean, and once I think once the Iranians, the IRGC, the supreme leader, whatever, the political leadership, once they were like, wait a minute, why are we engaging with this crazy man on merit? They still have to get to their tactical objectives. This is why diplomacy is so complicated. You got to deal with Bibi and the resistance axis and all the different factions in Jordan and Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Yemen and Oman and there's Iraq and Afghanistan and Syria and etc. There's a lot of moving pieces in this thing, all right? But it just absolutely It stuns me that what caught the breakthrough was that Iran realized it's not just that President Trump was kayfabing, it was that, and it's not just that he had no strategy, it was that, like, they needed to treat him like a patient they needed to make progress with. I heard someone say this commentary, and they didn't dive as deep into it as I wanted to, so I want to say something about it. As soon as they pathologized, I think it might have been Professor Casagrande who said this on one of his commentaries about Mr. President. I think it was. And I wanted to dive a little bit more into it. As soon as they pathologized him and started treating Mr. President as like someone you had to work through a clinical workover with, they got it. Then we started seeing real progress, but they really had to pathologize him. And I heard through the grapevine that they brought on, and it was through one of those reports, I think it was Professor Casagrande, maybe Professor Morandi, on one of the interviews they did, that the Iranian negotiators brought on psychosocial therapists, like psychologists and psychiatrists, not to obviously treat Mr. President, but to inform their negotiation strategy from the perspective of a patient in need of help. And that's what got them to a deal. And it worked. It worked. We have peace. And now, I also think they were going to ruin Mr. President's birthday. And so he acted a little bit, hastily and just gave the... I legitimately think he gave up tonight. I need to be direct with you. I think he gave up. Whether the deal will hold, I don't know. Israel, Bibi would bomb anyone, I think, to avoid going to trial domestically on cases 8001, 8002, and 8004. But I think Mr. President Trump gave up. I need to be direct with you. He's old. He's 81 years old. Do you know how much it probably sucks to be 81? I love all of you dearly. But to be 81 and in the presidency, can you imagine how hard that would be? I wouldn't wish it on any of you. It's being the president is incredibly hard. This sounds obvious, but you maybe, like FDR, as long as you are supported, you could probably do it. People can do it whether they're disabled or not, I think. I believe that. FDR proved that, in fact. He couldn't use his legs because he had polio when he was 7, and he lived. But being 81 is incredibly, it's a long life, and it taxes you as you get older. And the presidency is 24/7, 365. You need to be mentally there all the time. There's no resting. There's no recuperating. There's no naps. You might be able to sleep a little bit if you set up your command and control well enough. But on the whole, Mr. President was cornered and needed out, and they pushed him to do it. I think they got we paid them off. The thing is, I don't know if Mr. President's going to get a narrative victory here, because the truth of the matter is, I think we paid them off. I think we paid them a lot of freaking money. And I don't mean this Gaza redevelopment plan that's clearly cover, or that weird island that Kushner wants to buy that's very close to a tactical shipping lane. No. I think we just paid them cash and gave them everything they wanted. And there's a fact record, so how do you get away from that? I'm going to show you more from Kiev now, just coming in. It might be loud. Warning. Yeah, I think we've paid them multiple times. This is Kiev tonight. It could be loud. This is the results of Mr. Putin's attacks in Kiev tonight. It was a surprise attack. There were a lot of them. He also lost his mind and burned down a monastery that's 1,000 years old and on the UNESCO list. So I don't know what Europe's going to do. I think the world's trying to deal, with the peace deal that's trying to like come about between the U.S. and Iran. But Ms. Bade. Hello, Valhalla. It's so good to see you. What a night. We went through a roller coaster and a half. So here's a statement from the Secretariat of the Supreme National Security Council on the war-ending agreement between Iran and the U.S. I can't read Persian, but I can read Tasneem's summary. Quote, the war and military operations in all fronts, including Lebanon, have come to an immediate and permanent end. And, furthermore, the naval blockade against Iran shall be terminated immediately and completely. So has Trump given up trying to install Kushner as the next leader of Iran? Yeah, and I think that's probably for the best, Michael Brown. I don't think Jared Kushner would have had a very fun time running the country of Iran. All right. We made it. It's 9:30. I think this is real. I legitimately think this is real. I think we have a real peace deal. If it holds, I don't know. But we don't have a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. President Putin has lost his mind. I'm going to pray for those people. I can't believe he burned down an 1,000-year-old monastery. I need to process that. But we made it. We made it through 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. If they were going to launch, trust me, you would know. They would have done it to ruin the UFC event. We made it. I can't tell you if it's going to hold until tomorrow. You can look at your poll results. I don't think a lot of you thought this was going to hold, but it held. Valhalla asks, what is my prediction? My prediction is Israel will bomb in Lebanon. That is guaranteed. Guaranteed. I don't know how Iran and the U.S. will respond. I think, once all the noise and dust settles, I think the most likely thing that will happen if Israel bombs in Lebanon is that Iran will be given permission to strike Israel and the U.S. will not intervene to protect Israel. The UFC event is still going, but if Iran were going to launch, they would launch now. They would have launched a little bit earlier. They would have timed it. They would have ruined the event. They would have forced him to go into... Because remember, if they launch, he's got to go into the Situation Room. They were gonna do this split, because think about it, all the different news things are wanting to know what Mr. President's doing for his birthday. They would have forced them to split screen it. Iran's very smart. They know how to time it. They know how to make an impression. They show, they don't tell. All right, we've been going for 3 hours and 15 minutes. Thank you all so much for supporting Towel News. If you want to help Towel News, if you want to support, there are ways to do so. I'll play the GOAT videos for you. By the way, thank you for everyone who sent super chats. You absolutely will get your GOAT videos. You can like or subscribe to Towel News, youtube.com/@GrantSmithEllis. I'm going to drop some links in the chat. Thank you, Silent Dogs. Putin versus Trump versus Bibi. Who is the scariest? Oh, goodness. I think Putin and Bibi are probably competing, Mimi. Putin did just bomb a 1,000-year-old monastery, so he's up there right now. But, yeah, I mean, Bibi's got a lot of things to answer for, too. But maybe that's between them and God, Mimi. I think that's the best way for us to think about it. Oh, yeah, so if you want to help Towel Stream, I'll put the links in the chat. There's a Cash App, $Grant Smith Ellis. You can scan the thing on the screen. There's a Venmo at Grant-E1. There's a PayPal, paypal.me/Grant Ellis. It's a one-man operation. I had to, pay for streaming costs and software and all this stuff. So if you want to help supplement it, you want to get me a coffee, you want to get me, some lunch tomorrow, I'm going to sleep for 12 hours. I may take tomorrow off. My voice has been, if you can't tell, I may have damaged my larynx from talking so much. I don't think I did. But there's something odd about, my vocal cords. I might have stressed them. I just got to, talk less. So I want to sleep. But that also means I'm not around as much. So if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, want to get me through a few days, help me during the week, God bless you, Mimi. I got your wonderful card. I've been waiting to put that in so I can spend it with Nikki, but I may have to use it soon. But anyway, God bless all of you. I appreciate all of you very much. This is really, more so than anything else, designed to give people access to information regardless of what they can afford to contribute. So never feel compelled. Don't donate if it would be a burden or take food away from you or your family. It's really meant to give you access to education, information, and entertainment. 20% entertainment as a buffer to help your brain from insulate itself from trauma, and then 40% information, 40% education, such as to engender culture, public discourse, and ward off the usurpation of our forms of government worldwide. You're all so wonderful. Let me get Pete Bunny towel for his friend Francine. Where are you, Pete? Pete, Francine would like to see you. All right, I got him. This is Pete Bunny. He's our channel mascot. Also, I heard some news that Towel Girlfriend is setting up towel merch. I know, and listen, she found the coolest things. She found like towels. She found jewelry. I think she might be able to set up. She found, of course, towels. I might have already said that. She found other great things that she wants to create. I'm gonna work on it. I'm gonna put her in charge. She's really smart and very efficient, and I love her dearly. Hello, Towel. I was saying how much I adore and love my wonderful Towel Girlfriend, and how you all might soon be able to get towel merch. She has a bunch of really good ideas. I gotta give her a little bit of time to think about it, put it together. I gotta put the stuff together, but it'll be great. I know towel merch you're gonna be able to get. And oh, plushies. They have plushies. We're gonna be able to make Peep into a plushie. I'm gonna design it myself. It's gonna be great. You don't understand. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, shout out to the wonderful and ever-loved and just erudite and just amazing Towel Girlfriend. She makes my heart sing every day. I just adore her. Silent Dogs, don't worry. We'll get through this. You came up in conversation today, Silent Dogs. It was kind of funny. I forget, we were talking about countries or something, and I was like, does that country even exist? And she was like, oh no, I pulled the Silent Dogs. It was great. Oh, it was great. Goat friends. Oh, that's right. I want to play the goat video before we go. Would you all indulge me? Mimi loves the goats. Listen, our goats might be going home tonight. I don't know if they are going home. I don't know if BB's going to leave them alone. I need a good goat friend. Everybody needs a goat. Did you know Mimi has a little baby goat named Ellie? And really, if you don't have a baby goat named Ellie, like, can you really even say you've lived? You know, everybody needs a baby goat named Ellie. All right, that's my opinion. So let's watch our goat video. I don't think it will be the last. I don't think it'll be the last time. I think we're going to find out where our goats are. Hopefully they're doing good. Hopefully they're, all happy and all that good stuff. But I'm going to play you the goat video. Oh, God bless you, Silent Dogs. We do love animals on this channel. They're great. Where is my goat video? Where is my goat video? I demand to find it. I might have said goats instead of goat. Where are my goats? Where is my goat video? There it is. I found it. I have our goat video. So these are our goats. They were displaced on March 9th, 2026 from South Lebanon. Those are our goats. They were displaced. Mimi loves the goats. We hope they can go back home now. We hope they're on their way home. This is Peep. He likes the goats. But yes, we love our goats. They're wonderful. Poodles are nice too. I'm a big fan of all animals. The biggest concern I had during this war was that the animals were not going to be protected because they can't fend for themselves. Just like these goats who were displaced on March 9th and forced to flee their homes in southern Lebanon and walk through Beirut. Look at the little baby goat. Look at the baby goat. Look at it. Wait till you see it. That's a baby goat. Now, hold on. Do you see that? Not that. Not this one. That's a sheepdog, actually. You're a goat dog. That is a baby goat. Now, me show you another baby goat. That's a baby goat. Now, wait till you see the crescendo. You're not going to believe this. That is a baby goat being carried on a horse by a shepherd. Hashtag baby goats. Look at the baby goat. Look at it. Look at him. He's like, oh, see, I'm hanging out up on this horse. Oh yeah, there were some big goats in there, maybe some rams. Could be just various different, goat adjacent like animals. There were some dogs protecting the goats. There's some horsies, obviously. There's a little baby goat riding on a horsey. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, frankly, I love it. All right, now let us do Tippecanoe and Tyler 2. So if you've never been here before, I like to do the presidents before I get out of here to test my mental acuity. It's called Tippecanoe and Tyler 2 in honor of my friend Triple Bob. Here we go. All right. So, you got President Washington, President Adams, President Jefferson, President Madison, President Monroe, President Adams Jr., President Jackson, President Van Buren, skip 9, 10, 11, 12. 13 was Millard Fillmore. Then we pick up with Tippecanoe and Tyler 2. So you got Polk, Taylor, Pierce, Buchanan, Lincoln, Johnson, Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, Garfield, Chester A. Arthur, Cleveland, Harrison, Cleveland, McKinley, Teddy Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, Woodrow Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, Hoover, FDR, Truman, Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, Bush 1, Clinton, Bush 2, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump. You can tell, I mean, that was probably the slowest I've ever done some of those sections. I bet some of you actually could follow along tonight. You were probably like, wait a minute. Is that what he's actually saying? I've realized somebody told me the other day they have to watch sometimes at a reduced speed on YouTube because I say so many words per minute. And when I do the president, some days when I'm awake, I'm very tired now. I've been up since 2, 3 in the morning. But the point is, I can rattle that off in a second and a half, all of the names. But I slowed down there, and some of you were like, wait a minute. I hear this every night. Oh, yes, you do. You're all learning the presidents. I'm conditioning you. Benevolent conditioning. Towel girlfriend once was like, I think I know all the presidents now. I was like, I know. You're a genius. All right, let me do my other outro. So, that said, if you liked this stream today, as I mentioned, you can subscribe, you can there's a lot of ways to support Towel News, youtube.com/@GrantSmithEllis. Pete Bunny Towel was grateful you were here, as of mine. But if you learned something today, if you want to pay it forward today, if you like this stream, you may consider the following. It doesn't have to be a donation to me by any means. You may consider doing a small act of service and kindness for people around you. For example, you may consider a donation to our homeless veterans or service members or their families. There should not be one veteran in the United States of America homeless against their will, or we have failed as a society. They want to go live in the woods. We're not going to stop them, but there should not be one veteran homeless against their will. They fought for us. They fought for our freedoms, and they fought for us to have this wonderful country, at least my country that I love so much, and I think we should help them. Likewise, you may also consider a donation to animal shelters run by or that help our service members and veterans. Great way to help our service members and veterans, great way to help our furry friends. If you can't find such an animal shelter, you may consider a donation to animal shelters in general. Great way to help our furry friends. Pete Bunny Towel is not an animal, but he does love animals, and he is a Pete Bunny. If you're in the UK, you may consider a special shout out to my friend LS. You may consider a donation to the Big Issue, a great way to help populations experiencing homelessness in the UK. But it doesn't have to be a donation. It could be something as simple as smiling at someone on the street, reaching out to a friend or family member you haven't heard from in a while, or yes, even giving away 200 tomato plants like Francis Futrell did one time and having them designated honorary towels during the outro forevermore. Yes, in that way, ladies and gentlemen, may we perhaps finally have changed the current realpolitik, all of us together as a world community. From one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our power, to instead one centered on preserving, expanding, and demonstrating our capacity to engage in small acts of service and kindness rooted in unconditional love. Therein, living up to our Tal Eudaimonia, or Summum Bonum, our greatest good in the ancient Greek or Latin respectively, and in turn bringing about a new digital epic defined by Aquarius the water bearer standing tall and carrying a towel. From a very sleepy Boston, Massachusetts, where it's 9:43 p.m. Eastern U.S. Peace Time, that would be 3:43 a.m. in South Africa. Excuse me, it's Sunday, June 14th, 2026 here. That would be 3:43 a.m. Monday, June 15th, 2026 in South Africa, 4:43 a.m. in Tel Aviv, Israel, and 5:13 a.m. in Tehran, Iran. My name is Grant Smith Ellis. God bless all of you. Thank you for welcoming me into your home. Thank you for being you. From a very sleepy towel, I'm so grateful for all of you during the most intense moments of this war or otherwise. There will be a time between now and Friday where we will see each other again, probably more than once. When I'm more awake, I will decompress and provide some thoughts on where this all stands and where it goes. And of course, should any breaking developments occur, you will see me right away. But overall, I'm thrilled to have met so many of you, and I'm so grateful for your energy, your support, your compassion, your comments, even as I'm on the verge of sleep. Let us play, I think, a very fitting song here. Let me put the flag up, give me 1 second, and then let us play It's Not the War Song. And then let me play a song as we get out of here. I think it'll be that, the song we have ended with many times. And it is Flag Day, is it not, ladies and gentlemen? So how apropos that on Flag Day, I will play a song and put up the American flag. I do love this. All right, let me get the song to play us out. God bless you all. May God continue to protect this precarious peace. And more importantly, may God protect all of those who for the past 3 months have lived under an ever-present threat of bombs falling. Perhaps this peace deal will not survive, but at least for tonight, it has. From a very tired Grant Smith Ellis, let me find you the song I want to play. Here it is. God bless the United States of America. God bless all of the people of the world. And God bless you all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last...
Wait. No. I won't let the drop affect us.
Whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting
What a nice way to end our stream as I go to bed praying for peace. A special Peep Bunny happy birthday to Francine's wonderful washcloth. I hope you both have a wonderful night. God bless you all. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Grant Smith Ellis for Towel News. Good night. God bless.